668 total yards a game, and he's looking to tear up some turf. It's the TCU Horned Frogs and the Texas Longhorns live on Raycom Sports. Today's game is brought to you by the Jefferson Pilot Companies, by Bud Light, by Gulf, by GTE, by Coke and your Coca-Cola bottlers, and in Texas by your local Subaru dealer. Clouds over Memorial Stadium in Austin, Texas. The temperature is 59 degrees. Today it's the Longhorns and the Horned Frogs. Who will represent the Southwest Conference in the Cotton Bowl? Well, that question could be answered today, but at this moment there are at least 72 scenarios among the 4 contending teams. Arkansas is at A&M later today, and here in Austin it's the Longhorns and the Horned Frogs of Texas Christian. Hi, everybody. I'm Phil Stone along with Dave Rose. Simply stated, if Texas Christian is to win, they have got to have Tony Jeffrey igniting their offense, David.
Absolutely, Phil. He is Mr. Everything. He's averaging 132 yards on the ground. Last week, he caught a 71-yard swing pass, almost pulled that victory. They have got to have him play a major part in their offense.
The question is, Dave, can Texas stop Tony Jeffrey without Steve Llewellyn and Lee Beckelman?
Well, that's a big question, and that's the question on David McWilliams' mind, because you just don't lose a defensive tackle and an outside linebacker and play as well. It's going to put a lot more pressure on Brett Hager, who is the middle linebacker. He has got to be able to slide along that line and play well today.
Well, offensively, Texas would like to get the ball to Eric Metcalf, and understandably so. He's number 2 in this conference in rushing.
Oh, and he is Mr. Everything for Texas. He returns punts. He returns kickoffs. He catches balls out of the backfield, and he runs the ball fantastically well. He is as important to Texas as Tony Jeffrey is to TCU.
Well, Dave, you know it. The last time Texas Christian beat the Texas Longhorns was back in 1967. And that man on the right, Bill Bradley, was the Longhorns quarterback. The trigger man for the Frogs was P.D. Chabet. And now 20 years later, his son Paul is proudly wearing the purple and white. More than 60,000 filing into Memorial Stadium. It's the Longhorns and the Horned Frogs. The kickoff when we return. CU has in Tony Jeffrey, and the Longhorns have in Eric Metcalf. You expect a lot of points, and both those teams put them on the board.
And we are going to get it today. There is a lot of points that are going to be scored in this football game, and Jim Wacker across the field knows that his team has got to score a lot of points to stay in this game, because no one has held Texas under 30 points a game.
And, of course, David McWilliams in only his second year as a head coach. Last season, you recall, he was at Texas Tech. He demands performance, Dave. He gets it. And what is so unique about David McWilliams, the camaraderie he has with his players.
Well, I played for a coach like David McWilliams and Jim Wacker. They are personable people. I watched Wacker and McWilliams walk amongst their players, kind of tap them on the foot, say, have a good game. They are two really class people. I would love to have my son play for either one of those two coaches.
Well said. We're set to go. Wayne Clements, the 6-foot sophomore out of Dallas, Texas, is putting it on the tee. And back deep to receive for the Horned Frogs, it is Reggie Davis. And Rodney Higgs, number 21 on the left of your screen.
And Phil, weather should not really play a factor today. The wind is low wind.
Reggie Davis, a yard deep, and he's going to bring it out. Out across the 27-yard line. Tackle made by Sullivan. They'll spot the ball officially at the 27-yard line. A flag is down. It is against the Longhorns.
Bill, I believe it's going to be offsides on the kick coming down. You know, you get a lot of momentum, a lot of emotion when you come down there, and I believe Texas was offsides. I think they'll decline it.
And for good reason.
Absolutely. They got the ball out almost to the 30-yard line.
David Rasco, the junior out of Westchester High School in Houston, will engineer the Horned Frog attack, and boy, what talent he has to work with. Tony Jeffrey and Tony Darthard. The offensive line, it's a good one, particularly Jeff Hopkins and Rob Adams. First down, first play from scrimmage. It goes to Tony Jeffrey. as he tries to run in behind Rob Adams, and instead he runs right in to Roger Pritchard. And Pritchard is a guy we're going to watch all day long. Defensively for the Longhorns, it's a good front four, but they will sorely miss Steve Llewellyn. Hackamack, the right tackle, is an absolute monster at 6'9", 282. The linebacking core, a good one, anchored by the middle linebacker, Britt Hager. And the defensive backfield, the free safety, John Hagee, unquestionably the class of that group. Second down, pitch near side. That is Tony Jeffrey. He turns the corner across the 40-yard line. What a block by the flanker, Jared Delaney, to spring Jeffrey.
And you'll see it on the right side of your screen. You'll see Delaney. He picks actually two people. He blocks one man into the second man. There you see them both going down. There's the Delaney's block downfield, and Jeffrey gets outside. He has the ability at 6 foot, 205 pounds to pound inside, but he has the speed to get outside.
A gain of 40 yards for Jeffrey. That's Tony Darthard. And he quacks down to the 21-yard line. It is John Hagee, the free safety, a gain of 9 for Darthard.
And Phil, when you analyze this game, there are certain musts that TCU has to do. They've got to do what they've started out, control the ball on the ground. When they do that, they dominate. They've got on defense be able to rush the passer and, of course, stop Eric Metcalf. He is Mr. Texas.
Brasco. Option for Darthard, and he is tripped up behind the line by Gerard Senegal. A flag is down on the far side of the field.
And I think it's going to be holding. I think I saw one of the linemen signal holding against TCU. That's not what you want to do down in 4-down territory.
Oh, that 40-yard dash by Tony Jeffrey a moment ago now puts him less than 40 yards behind Walter Abercrombie of Baylor, the Southwest Conference all-time number 6 leading rusher. Of course, it's doubtful anybody will ever crack Dickerson and Earl Campbell. You talk about rushing leaders. How does Tony Jeffrey and TCU stack up in terms of the nation? Well, TCU number 5. Well, look at Oklahoma and Nebraska.
Yeah, they're way out there. Of course, they run the ball a lot more than TCU. TCU is not that much a running team. I know they run the ball a lot, but they have a lot of balance. They have really found their passing game, and Rasco has had some excellent statistics. He has a good yardage. He's had a lot of good passes. Had one of his outstanding days last week.
Second down and 6 now from the 27-yard line. Jared Delaney fumbles the football.
Bill, you've got to put the ball away. Delaney was so open on this curl pattern. Rasco puts the ball right in his belly. Look at that catch. Now, when you get this ball, you have got to concentrate at the tail end of this. He breaks 3, gets a nice block right there in your picture. You see a great block, and the ball gets hit from the back. A lot of times when you see a fumble, it'll happen from someone getting in the back, hitting him in the back, but it was Britt Hager who really has to play a big game today.
12:44 remaining in the first period. Will return. The Longhorns will have the ball. Metcalf tries to crease the right side in behind Omar Saleh and Brian Nielsen. Well, a surprise. Brett Stafford, a severely bruised elbow a week ago against the Houston Cougars, is starting today at quarterback. He did not practice at all this week. Behind him, Eric Metcalf is the whole story. The 5'9", 178-pound junior, also pretty fair wide receiver in Tony Jones. 2nd and 9 from the 4. It's Metcalf again, hurdles one player. He's across the 5, out near the 9, fumbles the football. Was he down? I believe his knees were down when he let loose of the pigskin. Texas will retain possession. Kent Trammell, what a hit.
And look at Jim Wacker on the sideline. He wanted to fumble. These coaches both have a lot of emotion. Watch Llewellyn in the middle. He's the middle linebacker for TCU. Does a nice job. Look, never crosses his feet. Slides along the line. He overruns it just a tad, but he's able to get in there and get a part of that tackle. He has to play well sliding that line.
3rd down and 4 from the 9. Darren Norris. And he is stopped at the line of scrimmage by Philando Newton.
And Phil, when you play safety like Philando Newton, you've got not only be able to catch the ball and intercept and play the pass, you've got to be able to come up on the run, and he did an excellent job that time.
Alex Waits, sophomore out of Plano, will kick from his own end zone. He is a left-footed, barefooted kicker. Good snap, no rush, and there should be a return here for Philando Newton. Ball takes a Texas bounce. Newton picks it up at the 38-yard line, and he'll have no return, maybe a yard. First man to him is Elliott, a 51-yard punt for Alex Waits. He had a 51-yarder a week ago against Houston.
Yeah, he's an excellent punter. He ranks way up there in the top 10 of NCAA. I think he is 10th or 11th in the statistics, and we're going to have a battle of the punters today. Now this shows you right here how they attack. Look at TCU. 303 yards rushing, 102 passing. Look at Texas. More balance on Texas because they've got Metcalf coming out of the backfield catching swing passes.
Tony Jeffrey is hit by Roger Fritcher. Fritcher playing for the injured Steve Llewellyn, who is out for the season. And that is really the question. We talked about it in the open, is whether Roger Fritcher can be successful in penetrating the offensive line of the Horned Frogs.
Well, he can't be handled one-on-one. He can't be single blocked.
Tony Darthard tries to get around the left side. Dwayne Duncombe knocks him down.
And that's where you can't run against Texas. They are so quick to the outside. If you want to attack Texas, you have got to attack them in the middle. And without Llewellyn in there, that's where we think that they should attack. Now watch Hager on this play. Britt Hager is the middle linebacker, plays a good shed block. He's down the line. He is going to be, boy, he really has good movement. He doesn't make the tackle, but he gets an arm in there. He's got to be able to run that line of scrimmage about 12 yards either side of his position.
3rd and 6 now. Darthard. He is very close to the first down. I believe he got it. John Hagee. He's number 2 on the Texas Longhorns in tackles on the stop.
And this shows the confidence that they have in their running game. 3rd down and 6 is definitely a passing down, right? Wrong. When you have a back like Tony Darthard and Tony Jeffrey, you run on 3rd down and 6, and there's the results. They picked up the first down.
They did by about the length of the football. The ball spotted now just shy of the midfield stripe. It is 1st and 10. That's Jeffrey. And he is stood up by Lee Brockman. Brockman becoming a starter 3 weeks ago in that, boy, what an emotional victory that was against Arkansas.
Oh, it really had to be. That last second pass was just an unbelievable thing. The fact that they came back, went to Tony Jones on that pass in the end zone.
No score in the ball game. 8:45 to play in the first quarter. Now a flag flies in. Well, speaking of Arkansas, it's the Razorbacks and Texas A&M later today at College Station, and that game getting underway at 2 o'clock. And as soon as the whistle sounds in College Station, we will be bringing you the score.
Hey, you
illegal procedure.
You can see there. Wacker, excuse me. Jim Wacker wants an explanation as to who moved. They called illegal procedure. And there he's getting an explanation. Boy, he is an emotional person.
I'll tell you, if you could take and bottle and then sell that man's emotion, he would be a very rich individual. Rasko lets it go, hit just as it releases the football, and it is intercepted by Texas.
George, who's going to be on the right side and left side of your screen, gets great penetration, and watch him just get his hand on the arm. It causes the flight of the ball to go way high. You can see Texas just circling underneath it.
The Longhorns with the football. 8:25 remaining in the first period. We'll return to Memorial Stadium in a moment. Dave Rowe. Cloud-shrouded Memorial Stadium in Austin. No score. TCU, the story thus far, a pair of turnovers, a fumble, and an interception. The Horned Frogs have moved the ball well. That is Eric Metcalf. Running in behind Paul Jetton and Charles Cephas.
And Phil, we talked about TCU's must. There's Texas's must. They have got to stop that inside running game. They've got to not commit turnovers. That has really killed them. In their 4 victories, they had only 4 turnovers. And of course, they've got to keep their quarterback healthy. And already we see a switch at quarterback as Shannon Kelly comes in and Stafford goes to the bench. Stafford had a terribly sore arm, and Kelly comes in to lead his team.
Out of the I formation. He hit. He latched onto the football, and a split second later, David Spradlin latched onto Metcalf. Spradlin, 7.5 sacks. He's a senior right end out of Seminole, Texas.
Jim Wacker calls him, Phil, Mr. Intensity. He's their defensive captain. He is an outstanding football player. He has great acceleration off the block. Once he's blocked, he sheds the block and has great acceleration to the play.
Shifting into the I. And again, it is Metcalf. Looked to be the same play. This time, Greg Moore, the sophomore weak side linebacker out of Huffman, Texas, shuts it down. Now, the Longhorns wanted to run inside against TCU, and thus far in the early going day, they have been unsuccessful.
And watch Metcalf. What he does is he bounces outside quickly, gets through the hole right there. There he bounces outside, and you see Moore come in and get the tackle. Flanda Newton, so the safety is playing way up on that defense. He's reacting very quickly. They may go to play action pass to try to draw it in, draw those safeties up, and then pass behind them.
Alex Waits. Not a high kick. Again, it takes a Longhorn bounce over the head of Philando Newton, and it's going to be down at the 2-yard line.
Well, sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good. Watch this bounce. You will not believe it. Newton thinks it's going into the end zone, and right there it takes a dead bounce down on the 2-yard line.
His first punt was 50 yards. This one carried 58-yard lines. When we come back, the Frogs will have it at their own 2.
It runs with a beauty, an inner strength, a force that sets it apart. Thunderbird Turbo Coupe. Run with it.
Your fate. Staten, Jackie Sherrill's bunch will host the Razorbacks of Arkansas.
That is a big game. You can see the standings there. Any one of those top 4 teams can go. Of course, TCU has to win this week and win next week, and then they're in the Cotton Bowl.
Here at Memorial Stadium, we're scoreless. 6:27 remaining in the first period. The Horned Frogs with their backs to the wall. It is Tony Jeffrey out across the 10. Look at him, still on his feet. 4, 5, 6 Longhorns are on him before he finally goes down. John Heggie, the first man to reach him with help from Tony Griffin. And those two just said, help us out, guys.
And Mike Sullivan, number 77, is on Fritcher. He's the man who has to block him. Now, look, he turns him out. Look at the hole back inside there. I think I could run through that thing, and Jeffrey sees it. Jeffrey's got great leg action. You can see that you just don't bring him down by yourself. That's John Hagee, 17, the great safety for Texas.
Third out across the 17 near the 18. Roger Fritcher, who Dave spoke of a moment ago on the tackle, but a couple of flags sail in, and you wonder if perhaps Darthard's face mask was grabbed.
Well, the way the flags came in at such a late time, you almost have to think that it was a face mask. Watch the tail end of this. We may be able to see. That's 60 Brett Hager in there. See if we do get a face mask at the tail end. Right there. There's the face mask. You see the hand on the face mask?
Ouch.
Well, that's just an inadvertent face mask. It's an accidental thing, but of course it's very costly.
That'll bring the ball out.
It's interesting to note, we said that TCU had to control the game on the ground, and that's immediately what they're doing. They don't want to put it up for grabs. They want to be able to run that clock down, control it with long, sustained drives.
Full house backfield. First guy through, Scott Bednarski, the junior out of Crockett High School here in Austin. Britt Hager on the stop. There's no question that Britt Hager, the middle linebacker, Dave, is certainly the straw that stirs the Longhorns' defensive drink.
Absolutely. 122 tackles. He's 40 tackles ahead of anybody else on the defense. He is that type of a active middle linebacker. He's got great range, excellent strength. His size is about 6'1", just what you'd want. 6'1", 225, 230, with great movement.
Second down. That's Jeffrey as he tries to run in behind Rob Adams and Jeff Hopkins. And again, it's Hager. He has been there a lot here in the first period.
Well, you don't get 122 tackles this time in the season without being around the ball all the time, and that's what Hager is. He's around the ball. You know, when you play middle linebacker, Phil, you have to have a great sense of where the ball is going. You have to play your keys, and that's what he's doing. He's playing the keys of the two guards, blocking on tackles, and he slides to the outside. But he also has to have great confidence on those two inside tackles that they're going to stop that inside running play. So he's getting the results today.
The Horned Frogs with a third down situation on the year. 44% conversion rate on third down. And now it appears as if they may get a delay of game. Yes, at a critical time.
Boy, that'll cause coaches to have their stomachs just turn. You can see Jim Wacker. What they do is they send the play in. You can see him there sending a play in. That takes time. Then when the quarterback gets in there, you just get a little bit complacent. Now, there is a clock in the end zone that shows how much time is on the clock. Starts, you see it right there, 25 seconds. So a quarterback has to be cognizant of that. He has to be able to look up periodically at that and make sure that that clock is not ticked down to 0.
Well, now it's 3rd and 10 from the 34-yard line. Rasco.
And this is what you call a defensive line sack. Watch the pocket crush around Rasco. He just doesn't have anywhere to step up. There's good pressure from the outside. He can't step up in the inside. That's the result right there. But that was a good sack by all the defensive linemen, not just one.
Chris Becker, he leads the conference in punting, and that is why. Oh, man, look at him back Metcalf up at the 27-yard line. Metcalf crosses the 30. Uh-oh. An outstanding return by little Eric Metcalf to the 42-yard line.
And we always talk about the old fence. And watch this fence. He starts up. He has to get outside the fence. Now, watch the orange shirts come into the picture. Look at them. They're all down that side. You can see there must be 10 or 11 orange shirts over there. Everybody set up, block, and you can see the result of that. Metcalf comes down the field and gives the Longhorns great field position at the 42.
His second longest punt return of the year in the season opener at Auburn. Metcalf returned 133 yards. That returned 30 yards. The pass is to Darren Norris, the junior fullback out of Oceanside, California, and he is run out of bounds by Floyd Terrell.
Watch, Llewellyn is in the middle. He's 93, the middle linebacker. He's got to pick that back up out of the backfield. You can see how much respect he has out of the backfield in that he has to make about 8 or 9 yards back up to try and cover him. That's what you try to do in your pass offenses. Isolate those running backs who have great speed on linebackers that really don't have great coverage ability.
That was the Longhorns' first pass of the ball game. It comes with 3:24 remaining in the first quarter now from the eye. Texas long count. The pitch is to Metcalf, and he is hit at the line of scrimmage. Skirts 2 tacklers, but is unable to get away from the third. That was Andre Spencer, the junior from Los Angeles. He's the left corner.
Well, I'll tell you, Floyd Terrell, who's the outside linebacker, he's having a battle. He has got to come up and make this play. You can see him trying to keep his inside position. Now watch right here. He loses. Look at the ability of Metcalf, the balance that he has. He turns a run that's supposed to be dropped for about a 2-yard loss into about a 3-yard gain. That's what you call talent.
2nd down and 7. Metcalf on the draw. He's across the 23, down near the 22. Tommy Sharp and Philanda Newton combining on the stop, but not before Eric rambles for 4 more.
And Eric is going to draw a crowd all day long. That man, Philanda Newton, has got to be careful that he doesn't bite on that run like a play action and then have them throw it long, because Texas can throw the ball. They have a great aerial attack, as was evidenced last week. They threw for 476 yards, an all-time Southwest Conference record.
And lost.
And lost, right.
3rd down and 3. Kelly, there's the out. To the 18-yard line, Gabriel Johnson. He's the flanker out of South Oak Cliff High School in Dallas.
And Phil, one of the things that David McWilliams is trying to do with his young quarterback, Shannon Kelly, is to try to get him some confidence. You can see as he comes back here, he was rattled last week, threw 3 interceptions that went back for touchdowns. He had a good day and a bad day. This is a very safe pass. It picks up the 1st down. It also gives the quarterback confidence in the throwing game as he's going into the end zone.
1st down at the 18-yard line. Throw set backfield. The give is to Metcalf. He slices across the 15-yard line. Fred Washington, the sophomore left tackle out of Denison, on the tackle.
Well, there's number 2, 93 yards, almost 93 yards rushing per game. You want to see movement? This is what movement is. Watch Mr. Metcalf. Gets the ball, good vision in the hole, slides through. He's a durable little back, too. Even though he doesn't really have great size at 5'9", 178, he's more the receiver size in pro football, but he's got the great running ability and great vision into the hole.
Kelly looking end zone. Lets it fly, and it's at the 3-yard line.
Phil, there's been a great stigma here that they cannot throw the out pattern here at Texas. I want you to watch this pass. It's going to be thrown right into your TV sets, fans. This is what it's going to be. It's an out pattern to Gabriel Johnson, 31. Watch where he catches the ball. Right at the end of the play, you can see how low he was to the ground. Great action. Wonderful camera position.
1st and goal, Longhorns at the 3-yard line. Here's Metcalf. I asked Eric Metcalf yesterday if he was at all concerned, number 1 versus number 2, Tony Jeffrey on the far sideline. He said, not at all. I know he's there, but I got to do what I got to do.
He certainly did it on that play. Great balance, explosion into the hole, and when he got hit on the line of scrimmage, he still had the strength to get in. Watch this play, the tail end. Normal backs will be stopped on the 1-yard line. You can see he gets hit, finds the end zone. He's in for 7 points, and they are leading now 7-0.
Austin, Texas, Phil Stone along with Dave Rowe, Eric Metcalf. When he gets the ball outside, that is where he excels.
It really is, because he really doesn't have the strength to play inside. He has to run inside and keep him honest, but most times you'll see him come into the hole and then bounce to the outside. That's what he does so well. He says it just sees a little seam and he explodes through it, and that time he did show the strength on the tail end of that run to get into the end zone, Phil.
Wayne Clements will kick it away for the Longhorns. Texas with a 7-0 lead, 37 seconds remaining. Dave, guess what Wayne Clements has on his ankle? And don't say tape.
Well, I was going to say tape.
He has a tattoo of a Longhorn.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a great tradition, of course, at both these schools.
Jared Delaney mishandles it at the 2-yard line. It rolls through the end zone, so the Horned Frogs will have it at their own 20.
And Phil, maybe we take another look at Eric Metcalf. Now watch what I say when he bounces in the middle. Right here, he starts in the middle, then all of a sudden he bounces outside, turns it up. Now right there, he gets stuck, but he has that ability to spin and turn and get in there. He has tremendous balance. You can see the results of that great punt return. He only had to drive 42 yards. I'll tell you, it kind of blows out of proportion that fumble that TCU did early down on about the 2-yard line. It shows what happens, how emotion kind of turns in a football game.
Seconds to play in the first period. Rasco on a quarterback sneak is hit by Roger Fisher. This is the Horned Frogs' 4th possession here in the first period. Their first ended via the fumble. The second was intercepted. And the third was a punt. And a terrific return by Eric Metcalf of 30 yards set up the 42-yard drive by Texas. They lead it 7-0. Pro set formation on 2nd and 8. Rasco puts it up, crossing pattern. It is caught by Ricky Stone, and then he drops the ball. What a game the tight end had a week ago in Lubbock.
And Phil, that was just a bad pass by David Rasco. He really should have laid this ball up. You'll see Stone running. He's got great position. Look there, he just throws the ball down, and Stone has to do it. You can see the defender come in late. Stone had him beat on a post pattern, and he was going deep.
3rd down and 8 from the 22-yard line. Better than 60,000 here at Memorial Stadium. Rasco with time. There's the out pattern, and he simply overthrows Tony Darthard. Britt Hager running step for step with Darthard. That's the final play of the first period. And listen to this crowd roar. We'll be back at Memorial Stadium after these messages from your local station. You are looking at the bench of the Texas Longhorns, a team that has been to more bowl games than any other team in the Southwest Conference. 32 to be exact, including 18 trips to the Cotton Affair.
Well, they think the Cotton Bowl was like a home game for them. They've been there so many times.
Chris Becker will kick it away for the Horned Frogs of Texas Christian, and the Longhorns are coming. Good up front blocking by Texas Christian, and Metcalf is backpedaling at the 12-yard line, and here he comes. Flags are down. And so is Metcalf. Chris Becker made the tackle on Metcalf, and that was no slouch of a tackle.
No, it wasn't, and Metcalf almost broke that. There was a clip on the play. I think you'll see it was back around the 21-yard line. You may be able to see on the right side of your screen there, right there. You see the center right there, the block back? It wasn't a bad clip, but watch Metcalf. If he gets by Becker, he goes a long way. There comes Becker into your screen right there. Boy, what a good job by a punter. Sometimes you don't only have to punt.
Now the infraction will be whistled against John Hagee.
And that's surprising. Sore knee. Talked to him before the game. I said, John, are you going to be able to play? And he said, my knee's awful sore. But boy, when you start counting them down, you don't know if you're going to get a chance to play anything farther past college. He said, you really want to get in there and play.
That's the point I was going to say. What, they'd just about have to take that leg off at the knee to keep him out of the ball game.
Yeah, that's the truth. He really is an emotional player. He's really the spearhead back there in that secondary. I think he returned a punt for a touchdown one week and had an interception one week. He's kind of like Mr. Everything. Was that last week?
Yes, it was. Oh, he's got 4 interceptions on the year. 2 are for touchdowns. Longhorns go on offense with 14:45 to play in the first half. That's Metcalf, and he tries to run in behind Paul Jeton and Charles Cephas. Floyd Terrell brings him down.
Well, you can see the first quarter stats are a little bit in TCU's favor because of that long first drive. But 2 turnovers. Boy, turnovers will kill you. They change the complete complexion of the football game has changed when you turn the ball over. You can't drive 70 yards like TCU did and fumble on the 2. That just kills you.
Metcalf again in behind Jeton, bouncing to the outside, and Paul Llewellyn knocks him down.
And right now, Texas is really controlling the line of scrimmage, and they're controlling against a very good TCU team. You can see the double there on Kent Trammell, and there's Metcalf. He's just rolling after the wave, and when he gets that little seam, look at that movement on his feet. He's back outside. We talked about his balance. I think you could drop him upside down. He'd come down on his feet. He is quite a football player.
First and 10 from the 27. Shannon Kelly running. And he is bent over. Ron Lewis and Floyd Terrell.
They really did bend him over, and I know the heart of David McWilliams, the coach, got a little bit up in his throat, because watch this play. He makes a nice move to get away here, tries to set back up, and boom, there's the next tackler. Now watch the tail end of that. You can see him get bent over. They thought it might have been a little piling on there by Ron Lewis, but that's kind of a continuation of the play. His momentum was carrying him in there.
Ron Lewis, a backup defensive end, and when it comes to depth, that's what Jim Wacker has at the defensive line spot. Darren Norris, the junior fullback, is hit by Lewis in a flag down in the Texas backfield, and I think it's going to be an illegal shift.
Or motion before the snap. I think the back got started just a little bit, flinched a little bit before the count. You can see David McWilliams. That's a good stance right there. He just kind of said, oh, well, you know, the play didn't go for very far, so they probably will decline it. So it didn't really have a big factor on the play of the penalty.
Now, what it does, it forces the Longhorns into a passing situation. Texas second in the conference in passing, behind only the run and shoot offense of Jack Party's Houston Cougars.
And when TCU has Philonda Newton back there with 7 interceptions, wow.
That's Metcalf. And he'll be stopped at the 25 by Paul Llewellyn, whose brother Steve, until a week ago, starred for the Longhorns.
Well, you'll see this is going to be a quick opener. What you hope to do here is think everybody's playing pass. You can see the trap block on 81. That's Ron Lewis. They try to spring Metcalf through the hole, hoping that he gets quickly into that secondary, because he can beat just about anybody one-on-one. Not a bad call to try to fool TCU's defense.
Alex Waits is on. This is his third punt. He has a 50 and a 58-yarder. Philonda Newton has it at the 28. Sidesteps one would-be tackler, returns it to the 35-yard line. Jake was on the tackle, a 47-yard punt. The clock is stopped with an even 12 minutes to go in the first half. It's the Longhorns over the Horned Frogs, 7-0. Stadium, the sun trying to peek through. The temperature in the low 60s. Great day for football here in the Lone Star State. 12 minutes to play. I'm Phil Stone along with Dave Rowe. And, oh, you're looking at the Horned Frogs, who have made the trek from Fort Worth. And understandably so. They have quite a football team. That's Tony Jeffrey. And he runs headlong into the strong side linebacker, Dwayne Duncombe.
And, Phil, they are really closing the holes on the line of scrimmage. Watch Jeffrey. Now, we talk about vision into the hole. He has to see the hole right there. He has to see the hole. Now, you can see there's no hole there. You see 48 coming up in there? That's the linebacker, Dwayne Duncombe. There's just no hole there. Texas is sliding well to the ball. They are shedding those offensive linemen's blocks and getting to the seams and blocking it up.
There's the pitch to Jeffrey. Tries to turn the corner. He's hit at the line of scrimmage. First man to him was Hagee, who knocked him off balance. And then Bobby Duncombe, Dwayne's brother, came in to finish him off.
And a big part of that run right there was Ricky Stone, who's the tight end. Look at his block down. Look at that, driving off the line of scrimmage, driving Pritchard. Now watch Jeffrey on the tail end of this. He just explodes through the block of the tackle of John Hagee, the safety. He just accelerates when he was going to get hit. And instead of picking up maybe 1 or 2 yards, he picks up about 6.
On the 42-yard line, it's third down now and 3. Jeffrey hit at the line, but that extra effort propelled him out near first down territory. I believe he got it, and he did. Ken Hackamack, the right defensive tackle in the orange and white. Hackamack, number 68, out of Belleville, Texas. He's 6'9", 282 pounds, and I understand next year when he comes back as a junior, the coaching staff would like Hackamack to add 40, count them, 40 pounds.
Well, I looked at him, and he certainly can put it on. He has a great big body. He really doesn't have that weightlifter's body.
Senegal had Darthard 4 yards deep, and Darthard simply powered through the tackle.
And watch Britt Hager. He's number 60, your middle linebacker. He slides and misses the block there. Now watch this. He has to get down the line quickly. He's trying to get to that angle point. Look at that determination just to get a hand on Darthard to push him out of bounds. That's great range. That's what you want out of a middle linebacker. Both our linebackers have that ability to run the line.
2nd down and 8 from the 48. Rasco, deep drop, screens it out to Ricky Stone. He's across the midfield stripe, and his legs are cut out from under him at the 46. And it is Gerard Senegal, the strong safety out of Forest Brook High School in Houston.
And Phil, we talked about that dominance on the ground. That is only the 4th pass that TCU has thrown. They've run the ball 17 times, and they've passed it just 4.
Boy, Senegal, Dave, one of 11 players wearing the orange and white out of the Houston area. That's Longhorns' own personal minor league.
They must have a high school coach down there they really like.
Jeffrey again hit behind the line of scrimmage. First guy to hit him was Lee Brockman. And Stanley Richard. I knew I was going to do that. Richard finished him.
Watch Jeffrey on this play. This play is going nowhere. This is the ability that both he and Metcalf have. Look at that. That play's going nowhere, and yet he falls forward for almost 5 yards and a 1st down. You talk about the top guns. Well, look at there. Metcalf and Jeffrey. That's their results so far. Look at that. 77 yards, 33, both via the runs. Show the dominance and the amount of importance that they have on their respective teams.
Creases the 40-yard line, out of bounds at the 39. It is Lee Brockman on the tackle.
Number 63.
There you see the situation. Time remaining in the 2nd period, 9 minutes, and we're counting it down. The Longhorns enjoying a 7-0 lead. Texas Christian thus far their own worst enemies, a fumble and an interception.
Yeah, that fumble really hurt them when they got down to the 2-yard line.
Mike Sullivan, freshman redshirt, right guard, making contact with Roger Fritcher.
And see him come back there and smack. He comes back and smacks the other offensive lineman. You'll see it on the left side of your screen. He's going on 1. Everybody else is going on 2. Evidently, it was an outside play because he's blocking to the outside. That's when you come back to the huddle. Look at him shaking his head. Everybody says, hey, it was on 2, wasn't it? On 2. And he's saying, yeah, I know it was on 2. I can tell you what that's like. Boy, that is an embarrassment for an offensive lineman to jump off sides, but they all do it.
2nd down and 11. Jeffrey knocked off his feet by Oscar Giles, a freshman out of Palacios.
Oscar Giles, number 95.
Bill, there's a lot of battles in that front line, though. I was watching the defensive line that time play. Texas may be banged up. We talked about all the injuries that they have, the players playing out of position. But you know, this stadium right here has a lot of memories and a lot of feeling, and they want to play well, and it's got such a tradition of them playing well here. They don't want to lose.
Rasco, pressure from the blind side. He's hit, but completes the pass to Ricky Stone. It'll be short of the 1st down by about 4 yards. Boy, Rasco was leveled from the blind side by Thomas Aldridge.
Now, this is a tight end delay. Watch Stone. He's going to be in the top of your screen. He blocks, lets the secondary get off. Now he slips off the line, and you can see how wide open he is. He doesn't have great foot speed to go downfield and break tackles, but he has great hands. We saw that last week. He made some catches last week that were just unbelievable catches.
On 4th down and 4.
Wow.
Lee Newman is on to attempt a 54-yarder. Yesterday in practice, Dave, I was sitting up here watching him, and Newman was hitting him from 57 yards out with a little room to spare. So Jim Wacker wants to think it over. Newman cuts to the far sideline. 7:23 to play here at Memorial Stadium. It's the Longhorns by a touchdown. In the 1st half.
Bill, that's a dangerous field goal from 54 yards because the trajectory of the ball has to be so low to get the distance that sometimes they're easily blocked. Just an inadvertent hand sticking up and can block it.
TCU's longest ever, a 56-yarder by Steve Mormon. This will be the second longest. Boy, Newman's got plenty of foot, and it is wide right. He had loads of distance.
Boy, he did. He showed me something on that kick. That ball could have made probably close to 60 yards. It had that much height going across the ball, going across the line. Thus far, the storyline in this ball game with 7:17 to play in the first half. TCU. It is Tony Jeffries, 77 yards rushing, but the Horned Frogs are giving the ball to the Longhorns twice. Once by the fumble and once
on the interception. First down, Texas. The pitch to the near side. Here comes Metcalf. Turns the corner. Oh, man, is he nailed. Somebody grabbed him by the base of the helmet, it appeared. Eric jumps right up. I believe it was Floyd Terrell.
Watch this hit on the sideline. You're going to see what it's like. He comes around here just as he turns out. You're going to see the arm come in across his neck. It actually grabs his shoulder, and look at how quickly he gets dumped over into a pile. Boy, is he durable. He jumps right back up. And Floyd Terrell, who made that tackle, and he is the hit man for this TCU team. They call him an ultra-quiet guy, but he's a hit man.
Second and 5 from the eye. Again, it is Metcalf. He turns the corner, and he outruns number 42. Tommy Sharp, a first down for Texas.
Bill, one thing you cannot do is lose containment on Eric Metcalf. He has the ability, as you said, to burn him. And that time, all he does is he's running to get outside. It's evidenced all the way on the entire run. He's running to get around the corner, and he still does. You cannot lose containment when you're the cornerman coming up and trying to force that run. You've got to turn him back inside to where your pursuit is coming.
Metcalf with 2 previous games against TCU in which he excelled. There's the draw. Metcalf got it. Loses the football, and it's covered by the Horned Frogs of TCU.
Well, it looked as if he never really got the handle on the ball. It was a misdirection screen. You can now watch this. It's going to be a draw play. Excuse me. Back. You can see just the hand just kind of get in there. There's the ball laying on the ground. But it was a misdirection. And if Hay had the time to get out there, he had a lot of running room.
That's the 24th fumble by Texas this year. And you wonder perhaps why Eric Metcalf puts the ball on the carpet so often. Well, David McWilliams theorized yesterday that Eric is not physically as strong as, say, a Tony Jeffrey or a Texas Tech James Gray. That's Darthard. Hit behind the line of scrimmage. Actually, Ricky Stone, the tight end, blocked the strong safety Gerard Senegal right into him.
Well, he really did on that play. And they lost yardage on that play. That's what you want to do on that flip, is you want to make them run east and west along the line of scrimmage. And when they flip the ball, you want to have your people. Everybody is designated to make a certain tackle on that play. Someone has the quarterback, somebody has the belly man who comes in with a fake, and someone has the pitch man. And that time Texas played it just very, very well along the line, and the results were about a 3-yard loss.
Going wide to the right to the top of your screen is Jared Delaney. He's the flanker. Rasco looking towards Delaney. Now throws. It is intercepted by Texas. Lee Brockman. It's second to Dan. He may take it.
You can see there on the sideline, that's Jim Wacker, and what he's doing is he's instructing his young quarterback to throw downfield. That's the most dangerous pass to throw, the out pattern, especially if the man is even nearly covered, because the ball just doesn't get there quick enough. Now watch from the end zone, you'll see how the defensive linebacker, Lee Brockman, was right there. See the ball, it really doesn't have any zip Brockman steps in front of it, comes down with a big play, rambles down here. Gosh, they may put him at running back the way he ran. Watch this dive at the end. What a thrill for him.
Longhorns looking for a Mr. Inside. They have not had the big, hulking running back. He showed me plenty there. You wonder what David McWilliams might do. Is the man to my left, Lyle Blackwood, starred for the Horned Frogs of TCU. His brother Glenn starred for the Longhorns. And Lyle, we were talking about it at the outset of our telecast. Boy, the Horned Frogs, it has been a long dry spell beating the Longhorns. How does that happen year after year?
Well, they just had superior talent, and they've come up there and whipped us bad. Last 6 years when I was playing in Miami, Glenn and I would have a little personal bet going about what TCU and Texas were going to do, and Glenn was always pretty confident about the outcome, and that's the way it's gone for all these years. And came today hoping to see a turnaround.
Well, are you planning on, are you pulling for the Horned Frogs today? Now tell the truth.
Am I pulling for the Horned Frogs?
Right.
Definitely.
All right,
my high school team won last night, and I'm hoping for the Horned Frogs today.
Great, Lyle. Thank you.
Lyle Blackwood, certainly one of the greats in Horned Frog history, certainly an outstanding defensive back along with his brother Glenn for Don Shula's Miami Dolphins. Well, I remember Lyle and Glenn playing in that tremendous playoff game back in 1981 against the San Diego Chargers at the Orange Bowl.
Oh, yeah, the Bruise brothers.
Oh, man. At the 11-yard line, it's Reggie Davis. He's out across the 30, still churning those legs to the 34-yard line and tackled there.
You know, Phil, Tony Jeffrey has had some good days against everybody else, but he really hasn't had great days against Texas. Look at there, 52, 57. Now, today he's got 78 yards, but that's not really what, I mean, he's the kind of back that's 140, 150-yard back, and I would look for them to try to go to him a lot more. It's really important right now that TCU does not panic being 14 points down. What they have to do is go back to do what they do best, and that's run the football, control it, and you can see Wacker saying, let's get going, because the clock is down to 10 seconds and counting.
6 minutes to play in the first half. Rasco to Ricky Stone. He had a catch just like that a week ago in Lubbock. I don't know if he's got suction cups on that hand.
Well, I'll tell you, you'll see him. He catches the ball just like it's a baseball glove. Watch this. One hand, he just kind of sticks it out there. Coach said yesterday in practice he wore white gloves to kind of emphasize those great hands, but I see today he does not have them on.
No. Rasco the give through the left side. It is Tony Jeffrey. Jeffrey entering today's game number 3 in the nation in rushing, averaging almost 132 yards a game.
You know, Phil, an interesting thing about TCU is that they don't come out of the blocks fast. That has been Jim Wacker's big concern, is they don't seem to really get moving. Last week against Texas Tech, in the fourth quarter, they were unbelievable, but they just do not get rolling fast. They're a slow starting team.
Rasco throwing deep. Intended for Jared Delaney, the junior out of Houston, Texas, and he overthrows him. Tony Griffin on the coverage, the left corner out of Crockett High School right here in Austin.
And that's the type of plays that Rasco should go to. He should go to that play-action pass because Texas is playing the run so well. What you do is with a play-action pass, you fake it into the line to the back, try to freeze those linebackers in secondary, and then burst it out. He's got a good arm, and he's a good leader for this TCU team.
Texas Christian, and we've still got 5 minutes to play in the first half. This is their 7th third-down situation. Rasco chased out of the pocket. Ricky Stone is open and can't hold on to the ball.
Boy, Ricky Stone is the recipient of this pass, but he's not going to pull this one off. Texas brings everybody on the play. Now he has to get that outside linebacker. He doesn't do a very good job of it. You can see the pressure on Rasco back there. Now he tries to pick up Stone coming up off the ground. But that kind of play, that's not the play that's going to be successful in that situation. You have to look for a quick play.
Texas was coming trying to block the punt. Instead, it is out of bounds at the 13, possibly 15, 16-yard line. They're going to mark it officially now at the 17. With 4:55 to play in the first half under overcast skies here in Austin. It's the Longhorns of Texas surprising the Horned Frogs 14-0. Full tickets still available. And this game you are watching here will have a bearing on who will represent the conference and this year's Cotton Extravaganza, of course, in a game that will get underway in just a little less than an hour at College Station. Jackie Sherrill's Aggies hosting the Razorbacks of Arkansas. .55 to play in the first half. Longhorns leading it by 14. They have the ball, and here comes Metcalf through the right side. A gain of 3. Tracy Simeon. He was a nose guard a year ago when the Horned Frogs played the 3-4, which they played for years and years and years. But they changed this year, went more to a attack defense, and that pushed Simeon to the outside, playing left end. There is Brett Stafford. He played 1 series, and we have not seen him since.
Gerard Norris, 34.
That's Darren Norris.
Number 40, Floyd Carroll.
Mitchell Benson, Floyd Terrell combining on the stop.
On the stop.
This TCU team has got a great defensive line up front. They've got, of course, Simeon and Spradlin. We called their names a couple times already, getting pass pressure. But Benson and Trammell are no slouches. They have an excellent defensive line front four. Then they back up with Hawkins and Lewis, and they bring those players. They can really play football. They get a green light to play, and the coach says, we're going to use them in the game.
Metcalf. Back to about the line of scrimmage. Mitchell Benson on the tackle.
Mitchell Benson, number 95.
And Phil, this is a pivotal point for TCU. They don't want to go in the halftime 14 down. They've got a little bit under 3.5 minutes. They've got plenty of time. They should get the ball in good field position, barring another unbelievable roll by Mr. Waits. But they should get it in good field position, drive down, at least get 3 points so they don't go in with no momentum.
Well, he has been booming them today. Good snap. Low punch. Falonda Newton gets the big bounce, and he'll get out of the way at the last possible moment. The ball rolling dead at the 30, correction, at the 29-yard line. Accommodations arranged through Fairmont Hotel. 2:56 to play in the first half. From Memorial Stadium in Austin, I'm Phil Stone. Joining me is Dave Rowe. And thus far, somewhat of a surprise, Dave. We thought perhaps the Horned Frogs would be right in the thick of things, but they are not out of it by any stretch of the imagination.
No, again, they don't have to panic in this situation. Texas is playing extremely well on defense. TCU has just got to get their feet back under them. How they're going to do it, that's a good way right there.
Reggie Davis has got 4 Longhorns over him, and they still can't knock him to the turf. First catch for Reggie Davis today. Stanley Richard, the freshman out of Hawkins, Texas, with help from Lee Brockman.
This is what you call a round and round merry-go-round. You can see that people hit him from both sides. Now, you almost dropped the ball. When they hit you like that, you just can't fall down because you got guys all the way around you. They don't let you fall down any one direction.
There's 5 white helmets holding on to him. There's only 11 guys with white helmets out there. So virtually half of the Longhorn defense could not bring Reggie Davis down.
Well, they were fixing the chains there. I believe that's what that delay was. Didn't have the yard marker. They have a little marker on the chains, and they mark one of the yard lines so that when you can see it maybe to the left, it's on the left side of the screen there. It just marks the yard line, so when they bring it in and back out, they can always place it back on the yard line it was designated as being.
There you're looking at Jim Wacker in his 5th year as head coach of the Horned Frogs. 2 Division II championships while at Southwest Texas State, a couple of NAIA championships at Texas Lutheran. Rasco wants to put it up. Here come the Longhorns. He screens it out to Tony Jeffrey, and Jeffrey is hit behind the line of scrimmage by Dwayne Duncombe. Duncombe playing because Lee Beckelman went out with a neck injury last week.
Now, what you have to do as a back, watch Jeffrey on this. You have to kind of pretend that you're blocking. See, now he just kind of sneaks out there. It doesn't fool Dwayne Duncan, number 48. He's out there covering him and comes down with a big play to stop Jeffrey behind the line, bringing up 2nd down, about 13 yards to go.
A loss of 3, 2nd down and 3. Rasco, boy, does he have time. Lets it fly. try, and it is intercepted. A flag is down.
And Phil, I think that could be a costly penalty against Texas. I watched Tony Jeffrey that time, and they had Tony Jeffrey. They were holding him up about 20 yards off the line of scrimmage. They had in fact, they even knocked him down. So that could go against Texas.
And I think it's exactly what the call is going to be. Take the interception off the record book.
Well, it was a poor pass, really, by Rasko. The ball kind of fluttered on its flight. But the interference was obvious right down in front of the Texas bench. Someone just tackled him. You just don't want to lose someone like Tony Jeffrey out there in the secondary.
Now, John Hagee actually picked it off, and if it stands, it will be his 5th interception of the season. But I think, quite frankly, they're going to take that interception off.
Well, they're discussing when it happened. Did it happen before the ball? There's the personal foul. Personal foul they called rather than interference. Now watch Tony Jeffrey coming out of the backfield. Maybe we can see what happens here. He swings out. Now he's clear right here. Now watch the tail end of this. Watch there. Boom. Oh. That was Gerard Senegal. He's not supposed to do that. Now here's the interception. You can see the flight of the ball is not a smooth flight. You talked about him having a lot of time, and he did have a lot of time. But look at the trajectory of the ball. See how it's wavering? Gives a lot of time for Hagee to come over. Ball may have been tipped on the play. And you can see Hagee gets downfield, comes back, but it's all for naught because of the interference on Tony Jeffrey.
It gives the Horned Frogs the ball and a big, big first down at the Longhorn 40-yard line. Well, we're just a week away from finding out who will go where in the 1987 bowl picture. That's Jeffrey inside the 35-yard line. And I'll tell you what, college football teams all over the nation are beginning to position themselves for those bowl invitations. Number 6, Syracuse. Oh, look at this score. 17 all at halftime.
That is really a surprise. Maryland, of course, Clemson coming back from their weekend where they lost 2 weeks ago against Maryland.
Tennessee leading the Rebels of Ole Miss. First period score 7-0.
And South Carolina, that's a surprise that Wake Forest is that close in the second period.
And it is Houston, the run and shoot offense of Jack Pardee, leading Temple 17-7.
Bill, we have an injured player on the field, and it may be John Hagee. He had that sore knee coming into the game, and he was the one that we talked about earlier when we were on the sideline. He just said, you can't keep me out of there. He came in with a very sore knee, and looks as if he may have re-injured it.
Hell, a week ago versus Houston in that crazy 60-40 loss, Hagee had 5 tackles, an interception, a fumble recovery. He broke up a pass, and he's also returned a punt for a touchdown this year. He is a guy that David McWilliams can not afford to lose.
Well, there are certain players on every football team who give great leadership, and Hagee is one of those players. We may be able to see what happened to him on this play. Let's see if we can see him. He's number 17. Let's see if we can see him. There he comes right there. He's flashing into your screen. Now he gets kind of hit by his own player, falls down. It looked as if he may have hit his knee on Duncombe's helmet.
I think that's exactly what happened.
You can see he's favoring a knee, and it's a sore knee.
Now Hagee is out. It is 2nd down and 5 for the Horned Frogs. In motion, Delaney. Rasko looking at Delaney. And now throws for Jarrett. He's got it and runs out of bounds at the 24-yard line.
Ooh, that was a close one, too. You don't hit a man out of bounds. And number 16 came over there and hit him out of bounds. That's Tony Griffin. Watch this play. Now, when he gets out of bounds, you can't hit him. Now, watch this. You'll see Delaney. He's obviously going out of bounds. Now, there he's out of bounds, and you can see the hit. I think what happened is he didn't fall down.
First down, TCU at the 24. Rasko throws, and he overthrows Ricky Stone. A flag is down. It may be against Tony Griffin.
I think it was. I think it was holding on Jared. I'm not sure if it was Jared Delaney or not, but it was holding on that wide receiver that was out there on the right side. We may be able to see it on the left side of your screen. Maybe Wayne Waddy. Let's see if we can see at the tail end of it. Well, you really couldn't see. It was kind of down in the left part of your screen there. Kind of a questionable call, but the referees are in excellent position to make that call. And of course, with 47 seconds, the penalty flags played a big factor in this drive. It certainly helped TCU.
Referee in this ball game is Doyle Jackson. He is one of the fine referees here in the Southwest Conference. So another big first down for the Horned Frogs, and it too comes by penalty at the 11-yard line. It is 1st and 10, Texas Christian. They trail 14-0 with 47 ticks remaining in the first half. Bresco looking end zone. Now delivers. Touchdown Delaney.
And Phil, that is exactly what they had to allow to have happen. They had to allow a touchdown, or had to get a touchdown before this half, because if you don't, you go in on such a sour note. Now they know they're within striking distance. They can get right back in the football game. It also boosts that man, number 17's, just his emotions back up, because he hasn't been able to lead his team. Now all of a sudden, now they'll go in at halftime with the emotional high to come out in the second half.
Lee Newman tacks on the point after. It stops the clock with 40 seconds remaining in the first half. And, well, I'll tell you, what a great move by Jared Delaney here.
But look at the time his offensive line gave Rasco to find him. And he throws the ball all the way across Delaney. He's got that great speed, and he's a tall receiver at about 6'3". He has got great size to go up for the ball. He's one of those old basketball players. He's good in most sports. He's got good foot speed. Came all the way across on a crossing pattern, and Rasco found him for the touchdown. And that's got to make Mr. Wacker a lot happier. Jim Wacker, of course, very personable person. You can see that.
There goes John Hagee, and it appears perhaps, Dave, as if his day is done. The senior free safety who had such an outstanding game a week ago against the Houston Cougars had a knee injury in that game, and it appears as if we have seen the last of Mr. Hagee.
Well, he's not walking bad, believe it or not. I was watching him walk down the sideline. He's not walking bad. They may try to tape it, but it's obviously very, very sore. You can see they've taken off his shoulder pads. They may take him in and try to ice it down, get a little bit of extra time before this half. They've got 40 seconds, but that actually is about 2 minutes long if a team runs. You can see him favoring that knee. It was sore coming in. He banged it on the helmet of Duncombe. And now he's going to go in, probably ice it down, try to get some of that, maybe the swelling out a little bit, maybe the soreness, and see if he can come back and play.
Well, we have just received word from the Longhorns bench that it is questionable whether or not John Hagee will be back. Well, Lee Newman to put his toe to the ball. And it sails into the end zone. And the Longhorns will have it at their own 20 with 40 seconds to play in the first half.
And Phil, this is an interesting time of the football game. TCU has 2 timeouts left. If Texas runs and they're able to stop them, they may in fact use those timeouts to try to get good field position, because if they're able to field that punt, that young kicker that they had, he could kick that ball 60 yards and perhaps come up with a field goal for them. Newman has a great leg.
You can count on Eric Metcalf seeing the football. He's got it. Oh, look at that footwork. Metcalf, a 19-yard gain, and he was stopped dead at the line of scrimmage.
Well, I just can't talk about his balance any better than to say it's outstanding. Watch the stop and go. He stopped there. Look at the slide out. Now he cuts back inside. Now watch him skip back outside again. And he had 3 people right around him. Now he gets outside again, cuts back outside. Boy, he has got movement. He really has got movement. He can break it any time.
Paul Newman, Floyd Terrell, and Philanda Newton, all 3 had him triangled, and nobody could bring him down. First down. Give first man through. Again, it is Metcalf. He's across the 40, near the 42. This time, Floyd Terrell wraps him up.
And we may see Texas call timeout, because they also have a great field goal kicker with a long leg, and they may be able to get in field goal position to get themselves a kick for a field goal.
Southwestern University of Georgetown. Both the University of Texas.
David McWilliams, only the third head coach in the last 31 years here in Austin. He played under Darrell Royal and the Longhorns' first national championship team. I believe it was 1963. That team won 11-0 before losing in the Cotton Bowl 28-6 to Navy. And guess who was quarterback in the midshipmen that year?
Roger Staubach.
How'd you know?
Oh, Roger the Dodger.
And of course, Jim Wacker, Coach of the Year honors. I'll tell you, his accomplishments in college football are legendary already. Truly one of the class coaches in the entire NCAA.
And you know, after his last week's loss, it would be so easy to come in and just be deflated. But I mean, he told me, we were down there talking, he said, that was one of the most exciting 5 minutes I've ever spent in my life. I mean, you know, you look at it, this is a game of kids, and we're talking about young people. Some of them don't have a future in professional football. Probably most of them don't.
True.
But they're getting great educations at these schools, and they're not being abused athletes. They're being used on the football field, but they're also being used in the classroom.
That's Darren Norris. Fullback goes in through the left side behind Charles Cephas and Paul Jeton. But Greg Jones, the senior weak side linebacker out of Shepherd High School, knocks him down.
And Phil, Wayne Clements, who is a field goal kicker for Texas, has 2 out of 2 over 50 yards. He's got a long of 52 yards. If they can throw a pass over the middle and utilize, now they're going to have to throw an out pattern because I think they're out of timeout. No, they have 1 timeout left. But if they can throw a pattern over the middle, somewhere in the 12 to 15-yard range, they could get within his range for a field goal.
Hey, talk about Wayne Clements. He's number 28 for Texas. He wanted to go to Texas when he came out of high school, but there was a kicker here by the name of Jeff Ward, and he knew he was going to be behind Ward, so he left for Tulane, played a year at Tulane, and when Ward graduated, he came back and is now playing for David McWilliams. And that's why, as I said earlier, Clements had the tattoo of the Longhorn put on his ankle. When he left Austin, he wanted something to remember the Longhorns by.
Well, he grew up as a kid watching them,
yes,
watching them play every game. The kids sneak into the games here. You've got kids that sitting in the stands here. We've got a crowd that's unbelievable, and there's a lot of young people in this stadium that are just dreaming about being a Longhorn or a Horned Frog one of these days.
3rd down and 5, the Longhorns. They lead it 14-7. Kelly puts it up. It is caught. Oh, what a catch by Gabriel Johnson.
Well, that was a lot longer than what I thought he'd have to complete it, but he caught Gabriel Johnson on a fly pattern outside, and Andre Spencer just loses his containment on the ball. He just loses it. You can see him put his head down. He's just looking to try and catch up. In that situation, you don't want to get beaten deep. And you can see him right there signaling timeout because he knew the clock was a factor. There's only 6 seconds left. A heads-up play by that young man, Gabriel Johnson. And what could be and probably will be a good field goal try, well within the range of Wayne Clements.
Clements is walking on now. What a terrific throw by Shannon Kelly, who came into this ball game hitting on 53% of his passes, and he just laid that one in beautifully.
Now he has a slight angle because he's kicking from the right hash mark, so the ball has got to hook. And the interesting thing is that he is a left-footed soccer-style kicker, so you're going to see the ball is going to have to fade to his left in order for him to make it.
Plenty of distance. And it is good. Wayne Clements, who is hitting on 72% of his field goal tries, nails this one from 36 yards out. And with 2 seconds to play in the first half, the Longhorns have taken a 17-7 lead.
Now watch the confidence. He knew the minute he kicked it that it was good. That's the look of a confident kicker right there. Signals it's good. I know it.
Longhorns out in front of the Horned Frogs, 17-7.
And Phil, now the emotion kind of swings back to Texas. It's gone back and forth. Texas got off to that great lead, 14-0. Then TCU gets it back on that long drive. Now, utilizing those timeouts, they're able to get a long pass and pick up the field goal, hold momentum.
You remember what that man right there's club did a week ago in Lubbock with you and I looking on? In the last 3 minutes of the ball game, the Horned Frogs scored 2 quick touchdowns, an 80-yard drive in 58 seconds, a 72-yard drive in 28 seconds. So the Frogs can light up the scoreboard in a hurry.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have 2 great offensive teams. You don't have 2 people like a Tony Jeffrey and a Metcalf and not have great offenses. The question today is which defense is going to stop the other one. Both offenses are going to run, and they're going to produce yardage, and they're going to produce points.
Clements, a little squibber, takes a big bounce. Rodney Higgs fighting his way to the 30-yard line, and the first half has ended. Time expires. The Longhorns and the Horned Frogs will talk things over. We have a ball game on our hands. Texas out in front of TCU 17-7. We'll be back with more football action after these messages from your
He's in the locker room right now saying, listen, character is what is going to
field a football team, let alone lead the Horned Frogs of TCU by a score of 17-7. But as Longhorns basketball coach Bob Watlick knows, those injuries, Bob, have not been confined to the football field. 3 for TCU, only 1 for the Longhorns of Texas. Time of possession 17:35 for the Horned Frogs, while the Longhorns have controlled the ball only 12.5 minutes. Of course, return yardage is a big factor in this game as well. The Longhorns with 83 yards on returns, Texas Christian with only 7 yards. Well, that's today's halftime stats, brought to you by Budweiser. To you by Diet Coke and your Coca-Cola bottlers. By Apple Computer. By the Jefferson Pilot Company. By Gulf. By First Republic Bank. By Coors Premium. And in Texas, by your local Subaru dealer. Our Apple roundup in the 3rd period at Syracuse. The Orangemen now leading Boston College 24-17. At Clemson, it's Clemson over Maryland 31-10 in the 3rd period.
And that Mississippi game, Tennessee, of course, dominating Mississippi in the 2nd period.
How about in Columbus, Ohio? The Buckeyes of Earl Bruce leading the Hawkeyes 14-9 in the 2nd quarter.
And Oklahoma only 3-0 over Missouri. Of course, that's early in the 1st period. And Houston is handling Temple 24-7 in the 3rd period.
And that's a look at scores from around the country. Here in Austin, we're getting ready for the 2nd half kickoff. Accommodations back at Memorial Stadium. We are all set for the 2nd half of play. And Dave, I want to correct something we talked about in the 1st half. Back in 1963, Texas not beaten in the Cotton Bowl by Navy. They knocked off the midshipmen in Roger Staubach, and Bill Little, the sports information director here in Austin, sent me a frantic note. Of course, I had it written down properly. I just had communicated it improperly.
That's okay. That'll happen to anybody. One time. That's the only time I've ever seen you make a mistake. Right. The other time you thought you made a mistake, you were only mistaken.
Of course, that was the Longhorns' first national championship, first of 3. Reggie Davis goes down on a knee. Well, the Horned Frogs will have the football, and in the 1st half, this is what happened when they took possession.
And Phil, the interesting thing is that they had 8 possessions, which only produced 1 late touchdown. You can see there a fumble that really hurt them. Then the interception. They missed a long field goal. They threw another interception. So they have really been their own worst enemy. They did drive that last drive for a touchdown, 70 yards, but they need to come out and establish themselves and get some continuity on offense.
And 33 of those 70 yards came by penalties against the Longhorns. 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Delaney is in motion. Resco hands it off to Tony Darthard, the sophomore out of Brazosport High School in Freeport. Lee Brockman takes him on head-on. Brockman with 2 interceptions. He returned 1 for a touchdown in the 1st half.
Well, they are winning at the point of attack. Watch Sullivan here drive off. They're driving off, but watch Brockman play off and just stick in there into Darthard on that play. You've got to pick up that linebacker or the play doesn't go, and Brockman is having just an outstanding day.
Tony Jeffrey. He is wrapped up, and guess who did it?
Well, it's got to be Brockman because he's been in all day long. And it looks as if they're really starting to handle Tony Jeffrey. Brockman sliding along from his left outside linebacker spot, when right there you can see him just wrap him up. They're all in there. They've got 4 or 5 people every time along the ball. They've got 4 or 5 people that are making the tackles. They're not allowing Jeffrey to break clear.
Full house backfield now for the Horned Frogs. 3rd down and 6. Bresco will be stopped a couple of yards shy of the first down. Gerard Senegal and Paul Behrman, the freshman redshirt from Norman, Oklahoma, combining on the tackle.
Oh, we have an injured player on the field. Looked as if it was one of the defensive linemen on the back side of the play. It was away from the play. Really can't see his number in that position. It may be Ken Hackamack.
It is Ken Hackamack. Oh my, their left defensive tackle, Steve Llewellyn, went down a week ago against Houston.
Well, they can't afford to lose Hackamack. He is quite a physical specimen. Maybe you can see him. He's number 68. You see him there. Now he has to play across the block right there. Oh, someone rolled in the back of him. Looks as if Sullivan came down on the back of him and may have just bent his knee around.
It was hard to see whether he was blocked into him or if Sullivan came back on a chop block.
Oh, you can see the size of him. Look at him. He's 6'9". He's just a young pup.
282 pounds. They want to add 40 pounds to him next year. Chris Becker is on. Take a look at that average today. Almost 49 yards a kick. No rush, and he lets it sail. Out of bounds at the 45-yard line, and here comes the offensive unit of Texas. Now for the Longhorns, they also had the ball 7 times in the first half.
But you can see what they did. Their results were not as hurtful as the TCU drives. They didn't turn the ball over. They did the touchdown, and of course they had 2 touchdowns and a field goal.
From the I formation, first man through, I believe, was Darren Norris. Mitchell Benson on the tackle.
Had a little extracurricular activity up at the top of the page there. I saw Paul Jetton, number 61, the offensive guard. He was getting into it a little bit on the line of scrimmage.
Again from the I, 2nd down and 10 from the 45. Pitch comes near side. It's Metcalf. He finds a hole, spins his way to the midfield stripe.
Well, one of the keys to this game is how they handle the defensive line. That's Spradlin, 55. That's an excellent block. Good drive block, and they turn him out, and you'll watch Metcalf turn back inside. He's reading that block. And when you can drive someone like Spradlin off the line 4 or 5 yards, even though it's lateral, that's great movement by that offensive tackle. That's Charles Cephas. Excuse me, it wasn't Cephas. He's been replaced. That was Cunningham who was in there in place of Cephas.
3rd down and 5 from the 50-yard line. Shannon Kelly looking right, throws. Metcalf's got it, and he has the first down.
Bill, the tail end of this play is unbelievable. Metcalf is going to get stopped about a yard short. Now watch this. He's floating out to the backfield. Now he looks back for the pass. Now watch the tail end of this. He should get stopped right there. But look at that. Up in the air, gets his foot back down. Gosh, what great leg speed he has. He reminds me of some of the great running backs that have played this game, and there have been a storied history of running backs, and he is right up there with them.
1st and 10 from the 42. That's the big fullback, Darren Norris. Floyd Terrell knocks him off his feet. We were talking about that 1963 team. Longhorns won 11-0, and that man right there was one of the tri-captains of that team that knocked off Navy at the Cotton Bowl.
Look at there. There's one of the signs. Susan, will you marry me? Mark, as it's high up throughout the stadium here, that's someone proposing now. Now he's got to make sure she looks up.
Out of the eye. What pursuit by David Spradlin. Shannon Kelly didn't even have time to get rid of the football.
Well, when you're going to guess, you better guess right. Watch Spradlin just fire off the ball. There's the block. It doesn't get him. He's over top of it. You can see the penetration. That's what messes up a lot of plays. And Rasko really had no time. Excuse me, not Rasko, but Shannon Kelly had no time to get the ball back down and bring it back out. Excellent penetration by Spradlin on that play.
Ball's on the 43-yard line. It is now 3rd down and 11. Pitch coming near side. Metcalf turns the corner. Oh, is he nailed? Philanda Newton. He has done it all year long, and Metcalf may be slow getting up.
Oh, he just bounces up. But Philanda Newton, number 1. Watch this field level. It's going to come right at you. You want to watch impact. This is what you call decleater. That's when you see the bottom of the soles of the running back. Right there when he turns back. Look at Newton come in there. Great position. Just drives all the way through, trying to pull the ball out. You can see him trying to pull the ball back. Great play by that young man, number 1.
Alex Waits will kick it away to Philanda Newton on 4th down and 9. Horned Frogs looking like they're coming. Punt angle to the near sideline. It will go out of bounds. So the clock stops with 10:02 to play in the 3rd period.
Oh, wow.
Not a good punt at all. Officially spotted at the 24-yard line. A 16-yard effort. When we come back, it'll be David Rasko, Tony Jeffrey, Reggie Davis, Jared Delaney and company. All-time rushing leader, 3,583 yards coming in, and he's adding to those totals today.
Oh, he certainly is. And you can see the comparison. There's the 2 top guns, we're calling them, and they are. It's no surprise, and it doesn't take Albert Einstein to realize what moves both these offenses. One is named Eric, and one is named Tony.
John Hagee, we showed you Hagee walking off the field at the end of the first half with his jersey in his hand. He is back in the ballgame after having his lower back iced. That's Darcy. Turns the corner out across the 30-yard line, and Hagee is over there in the action.
And Phil, I look down on the sideline. I can see Ken Hackamack. He's back on the field. He had gone down to the sideline. Now Darthard is across the field. He may have sustained a knee injury, got hit on the knee. So we're seeing a lot of contact, a lot of big hits there. See, Darthard is down there. And we might see this from the end zone. We may see it. It's going to be a run to your left. Watch the pitch and watch the tail end of the play when Darthard turns it back up. He turns it in here, and he runs. And now watch the tail end of this when he comes down. You can see him come down hard on that knee. This is, again, the tail end of it. You can see the ramble. It's just kind of like an avalanche going over top. There's 5 Texas players, and they just kind of roll him out of bounds, and he's still down on the far sidelines.
I don't think Jim Wacker or Tony Jeffrey would disagree, Dave. There's no question Tony Darthard is one of the components that makes Tony Jeffrey what he is today.
Absolutely. He's just a sophomore, and his greatest asset is his blocking ability. They complement each other very, very well. Darthard coming into the game had a 6.5 yard per carry average, and they will sorely miss his blocking ability.
Bobby Davis, number 22, is in to replace him. And it appears as if the Horned Frogs may have jumped. It was Ricky Stone, the tight end, who had the outstanding game a week ago against Texas Tech.
Boy, and that's a crucial penalty. Instead of 2nd down and 1, which is usually a waste down, you can go upstairs, try a long pass. You can do a lot of different things. It'll now be 2nd down and about 7. And that will just really, boy, I can't tell you what that does to coaches on the sideline. That just rolls the acid in their bellies.
2nd down and 6, 9:54 to play here in the 3rd quarter from Memorial Stadium in Austin, Texas. Phil Stone along with Dave Rowe. It is 2nd down and 6 from the 28-yard line. Rasko pitches to Jeffrey. He's turning the corner at the 40-yard line and slammed out of bounds. Tony Griffin, the left corner, just shoved him with all his might. A gain of 11. More bad news for the Texas Longhorns. Their right tackle, Ken Hackamack, is leaving the playing field. Last week, they lost their left defensive tackle, Steve Llewellyn.
Well, I watched Hackamack come back out on the field, and he did a couple slides, which is what you try to do. You try to slide along the line. It was obvious he was in a lot of discomfort. They took him right back in on a little trailer back into the locker room.
First down, Horned Frogs. That's Jeffrey as he spins through the 43 out near the 44. Rocky Allen, the right tackle that took over for Hackamack on the stop. Allen is only a sophomore, but so is Hackamack. The difference, though, is in size.
Well, you can see this is where they're going to work now. It's like he wears a red flag. You can see 89. That's Rocky Allen, just a sophomore. Doesn't get a lot of playing time playing behind the starter Hackamack, but they will attack. It's almost like you wear a red flag saying, hey, go ahead and just run at me.
Brasco short of the midfield stripe. Bobby Duncombe from Durango, Colorado. Thomas Aldridge also on the tackle. Arkansas and Texas A&M just now getting underway at College Station, and we will bring you updates throughout the remainder of our ball game here in Austin. Third down and 1. That's Jeffrey. And he's got the first down. Bobby Duncombe is there again, the left end. You know, Dave, you talk about the Longhorns defensive line. They were thin when the season began, and now that both Llewellyn and Hackamack are out, there are possibly some big problems looming in the immediate future for David McWilliams.
Well, as I look on my 2-deep chart, the backups, Giles is a freshman, Gibbons is a freshman, Rocky Allen is a sophomore, and Mark Steed is another freshman. So they've got a lot of young people back there, no experience.
That's Bobby Davis. Only his 22nd carry all year. Rocky Allen knocks him down. You know, defensive tackles have always been a very proud lot here at in Austin. You look at guys like Doug English. How about Ken Sims, Brad Shear, and you know Scott Appleton.
Oh boy, Scott Appleton. He was another one. I'll never forget him when he played in the 60s. He was an awesome football player.
Steve McMichael's another.
Yeah, they've had a long history. You walk into Texas's locker room and they've got the All-Americans around their locker room, and a lot of them are defense and offensive linemen.
Tony Jeffrey for 1 before he runs right into Roger Fritcher and Rocky Allen, the 2 players filling in for Steve Llewellyn and Ken Hackamack. That'll create a 3rd and long situation for the Horned Frogs. Well, Dave, I'm going to put you on the burner again. If you're Jim Wacker, what's the call?
Well, I'd have to play a fake play action pass and maybe try to find my tight end, or even dump it to Jeffrey.
Looking for Delaney. Delaney's behind the defensive back, and he can't get to the football. There's an interference call against Tony Griffin of the Longhorns.
Oh, boy. It's going to be against Tony Griffin. You can see that Delaney is late getting up. They try to play action pass to freeze those linebackers that we talked about earlier. And it may, in fact, go against TCU. They may have got Delaney for pushing off. That would be a surprise. The ball was obviously overthrown. I didn't think he had a chance to catch it regardless of the interference or not.
Well, it is against Texas Christian.
Oh, boy. I didn't see that. Well, I watched most of it, but what happened was he may have pushed off early to try and gain that advantage, but he obviously had him beat. He had Griffin beat deep by about a step.
Well, that's a tough call. It would be hard to understand how Delaney could push off when he's running full speed and the ball is overthrown.
Well, you may see it on the tail end here. You'll see it in the bottom right corner. There he is. He's running with him. I just don't see the push.
Not at all.
I really didn't see the fact that he had a chance to catch the football, but the flag was thrown late, and of course everybody, including me, thought that it was going to be interference.
Chris Becker is on to punt it away for Texas Christian, and it is Eric Metcalf standing at his own 18-yard line. Ball taking a Longhorn bounce and going out of bounds at the 33-yard line, and that's where Texas will take possession. 7:03 remaining in the 3rd quarter. It's the Longhorns over the Horned Frogs of TCU, 17-7. Williams told me yesterday there is no place, as long as he is head coach, for mediocrity.
Well, he just can't accept it. He's a perfectionist. He played here. He always wanted to come back here as a player, as a coach when he got out of the system. In fact, he took the job at Texas Tech and stayed there only 1 year. Said, I always wanted to come back and coach at Texas. That's been my lifelong dream.
Split wide receivers for the Longhorns on 1st and 10. Coming near side. It is caught by Johnny Walker, the freshman flanker, and he is nailed by LaVoyle Crump. Well, if there's any guy who knows what winning is about, it is David McWilliams. If anyone understands the tradition and pride of this program, it's me. And I'll tell you, he speaks from experience. 3 Southwest Conference title, a couple of Cotton Bowl victories, and a national championship. And as he said, you learn not to accept mediocrity.
That's not bad in a college career, is it?
Gabriel Johnson. Boy, TCU stays at home. Fred Washington and Floyd Terrell saw it before the play even developed.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do as an outside linebacker. If the play is away, watch Terrell quickly react back to the ball. Comes upfield, makes a nice play, gets in on the tackle. Good heads-up reading by him. It's very easy to get faked if you don't play your keys. He has certain blocking formations that take him to his keys, and that's what he read on that play. He read the key, came up, played the reverse just as well as you can play it.
Wide receiver to the top of your screen is Johnny Walker. Gabriel Johnson, another flanker, also in. Here comes to Eric Metcalf. Oh, does he have big running room? His 6th rushing touchdown of the year. This one a 57-yard roam. Clements splits the uprights. The clock stops with 5:49 to play in the 3rd period.
And Phil, you want to see what a clinic in running is. That's Metcalf on this play. It's a misdirection. He starts one way, cuts back against the grain. You can see Spradlin just gets a wave at him. Now watch this. He breaks through the hole, look at him point and set up that block. He gets an excellent block by Gabriel Johnson downfield, explodes down the sideline, finds the end zone, 7 points. Unbelievable run. That's a complete clinic.
For Arkansas early in the 1st period, 7-0. Here in Austin with 5:49 to play in the 3rd quarter, Texas out in front of the Horned Frogs 24-7. Horned Frogs coming into this game 3rd in the conference in defense. Well, they had only been allowing 15.5 points a game. That's Delaney. A 15-yard return. Oscar Giles and Britt Hager on the stop.
And Phil, we talked about that clinic on running. He does so many things well on this. Good vision. Looks into the hole, finds the seam, sets up 2 blocks. You can see the block by Gabriel Johnson on there, and then he just goes screaming down the sideline, finds it in the end zone. The balance, the technique, the vision. He's got it all. The speed, just everything you want. He's obviously a complete back.
Brasco putting it up for grabs. It is intercepted by Hagee at the 41-yard line. A flag is down. A flag is on the field. Hagee still on his feet. The 3rd interception thrown by David Rasco this afternoon. Tony Jeffrey made the tackle. Correction, intended receiver.
And I think they held Darthard on the play. When I saw him run out of the backfield and come out of the backfield, it looked as if someone grabbed him. It may, in fact, go against Texas, may pay pass interference. It looked like he got grabbed because his momentum stopped going forward. He kind of spun around. That's what the discussion is down there, whether in fact it is pass interference.
Now there's some angry players in orange jerseys, which would certainly lead us up here to believe that maybe it is going to be against Texas, and it is. Was it before the interception, though, or after?
No, it was before the interception. The ball was intended for him, and it looked as if someone just kind of reached out, just kind of bumped him a little bit, kind of grabbed him a little bit. You can see the march off of the penalty. It's a big one. Now we may be able to see. It's going to be in the left part of your screen. I'm not sure that we can see Darther downfield. He's right there. See, you can see him breaking. That's after the play. He, in fact, it was Jeffrey, actually. I'm sorry, I said Darther, but it was Jeffrey who was breaking free. And on that play, Hagee does a nice job of reading the eyes of the quarterback. You can see who gets back in on the tackle. It's one of the, well, I guess that's 88, isn't it? Got back. I thought it was Jeffrey that got. That's Reggie Davis came back in on the play, but again, it was interference.
So for the second time in this ball game, the Horned Frogs retain possession of the football as the result of a Texas Longhorn penalty. First down at the 31. Jeffrey. A flag is down, and Jeffrey is smashed at the line of scrimmage. Britt Hager and Tony Griffin with help from Lee Brockman.
Boy, the linebackers for Texas are playing the run as well as you can play it. They're not big, strong linebackers, but they run the line of scrimmage just as well as you can. They're going to call a clip on the outside wide receiver coming back in the end block. And we might be able to see it. But there's the clip right there by number 3. That's Jared Delaney. He clips. You can see the linebackers getting into play. Look at them. 60, 63. There's 66. Those are linebackers numbers. They run the line, except for Pritchard. They run the line as well as any linebackers we've seen this year play defense.
Well, with 5:22 remaining in the third period, you want to talk storyline? The Horned Frogs, 3 turnovers, and they have cost them dearly. For Texas, it has been an outstanding day for Eric Metcalf. He has run very, very well against TCU over the years.
He certainly has. And another part of that storyline is the play of Kelly, the quarterback. He has played exceptionally well.
David McAdoo, a backup linebacker, has now come in for Britt Hager. The crowd on its feet here at Memorial Stadium urging the defense to hold. 24-7, the Longhorns over Texas Christian. The Interscholastic League sponsors Texas's public school athletics. But did you know the UIL also sponsors the nation's most comprehensive program of academic contests? Support schools' activities in your community. These outstanding young men and women are Texas's leaders of tomorrow. And talking about leaders, right now it's the Longhorns. They're out in front of the Horned Frogs, 24-7. It's first down and 25. Rasco looking deep.
Nowhere for Rasco to throw the ball. They had double coverage on the 2 wideouts. They played him as well as you can. You'll see Aldridge get up off the ground and make this tackle. He's right there. He gets up off the ground and makes this tackle. Just great hustle. Secondary coverage is outstanding. They've got the wideouts doubled. You can see the safety coming this way to help on the double out. They had the long fly pattern was covered double. They had the short men. Just great coverage by Texas.
Second down and 34. The pitch is to Jeffrey. Flag is down, and so is Jeffrey at the 12-yard line. Britt Hager on the stop with help from Lee Brockman. A flag thrown at the 6-yard line on the near side.
Now, if you're a Texas fan, you want to say you don't want the big personal foul. But it's not going to be against Texas. It's going to be against TCU. It's just going to compound their problem. And their punter has not had a great day. The last 2 punts, I should say. He's not had 2 good punts. And he's going to be deep in the hole if they don't get out at least to the 25, 30-yard line on a couple passes.
Second time here in the third period that Britt Hager is being tended to. He's down on a knee at the 11-yard line. Jim Wacker with a look of concern, and rightfully so. His Horned Frogs are down 24-7 with 4:09 to play in the third quarter.
Well, they're an explosive team, so he's not out of the ball game yet. He's getting what he wants at the other game because he's got A&M as leading Arkansas 7-0. So he's getting what he wants there, but he has to do his job here. And right now he's not doing it, Phil.
Third and 34, one of the few times this year we have seen the Longhorns and a nickel package. Rasco lets it fly in and out of the arms of the fullback Scott Bednarski. Oh, man, did he take a pop from Gerard Senegal and David McAdoo.
Anytime the quarterback is on the run, the safeties can sit back there and read his eyes because he doesn't have the luxury of picking up a secondary receiver, so he zeroes in. And Texas, those linebackers and those secondary men are recovering so quickly, reacting so quickly to the eyes of the quarterback that they are just destroying those wide receivers.
Chris Becker, good snap. Plenty of time to get it away. And again, it is not a good punt. It'll die short of the midfield stripe. Boy, the Longhorns, with the explosiveness they have exhibited today, have the ball in exceptional field position. Only a 36-yard punt for Becker.
And we watched Becker punt him before practice. When he was practice warming up, he just didn't do it. And he's not doing it so far.
Travel arrangement. Oh, look at this spiral. It is out of bounds. The pass intended for Johnny Walker. Boy, did he air that one out. You won't find a better thrown pass than that one. Shannon has played well.
Yes, he has. He's 6 of 7. He's got 86 yards passing, but he's been very, very selective in his passes. He's not picked a bad pass. That's something that Texas has been very guilty of. We talked about turnovers being one of their big keys. In their 4 losses, they turned the ball over or gave it to them via the fumble or the interception 27 times. They haven't done that today.
There's Metcalf again, misdirection. He is grabbed around the neck by Floyd Terrell. Oh, your old basic clothesline play.
Boy, he is one block from going all the way. Terrell reacts back. You'll see it coming right to the left of your screen. Now watch this. He takes a slide draw. Watch Terrell get in there. There's the arm. Boom, just bends him back. Look at the durability of Eric Metcalf. He is very durable. Gets right back up. Springs back up. Probably too little to hurt.
Going to the top of your screen is Johnny Walker. There's Metcalf. He is nailed for a loss. Boy, Mitchell Benson, the junior out of Eastern Hills in Fort Worth, got to Metcalf instantaneously.
But Phil, there's the big story. That clock ticking down. They're down 17 points. And Texas is playing the kind of football game that they want to play. Error-free football.
Bobby Liljadal is on to punt. He is coming on and replacing Alex Waits. Liljadal's first punt. It's a good one. Orlando Newton will let it go. Can Texas keep it in play? No, they cannot. So the Horned Frogs will have the ball at their own 20-yard line. The clock stopped with 2:24 remaining in the third period.
And Phil, I'm looking at Tony Jeffrey. Last week, he came in a similar situation late in the game. It looked as if he took charge of the football game. It's going to be interesting to see if he, in fact, can do it again. I looked on the sideline, and Jim Wacker was right in front of him trying to spur him on. He's the type of player that can come in, and he's one of your leaders. He comes in, he spurs the entire offense up. I don't know if he can do it 2 weeks in a row, but if they're going to do it, they need it from him.
1st and 10, TCU. Tony Jeffrey wrapped up at the line of scrimmage, churns for maybe 3. Dwayne Duncombe tackles him.
But what they have to do is they have to get the ball to Jeffrey and get him clear. Maybe on that swing pass that was so successful last week. But they have got to get him in one-on-one coverage or let him break to the outside, something where he breaks a seam. That's where he's most dangerous. He can plow ahead for 2 or 3 yards, but he's a break back. He can break at any time. He's a lot like Metcalf in that ability.
2-back set. Rasco coming along the line of scrimmage. Now turns the corner, and he'll be hammered out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Britt Hager, who has been in and out of this game here in the second half with injuries, back in the game, and you'd never know he was hurt. A gain of 7.
Not the way he ran the line of scrimmage that time to catch Rasco. He's got to run from the center. He's got to run about 30 yards along that line. They teach linebackers don't cross over, don't turn and run, slide along the line, and they have really played well. Hager sliding the line, picking up that tackle, missing the blocks, missing the blocks against him. Doing a good job. Solid in the middle.
That's Tony Darther. And again, he runs into Dwayne Duncombe, a gain of 2. It's so hard to believe that the Longhorns gave up 60 points a week ago. Of course, 41 of them came on the turnovers, Texas committing 8. Longhorns playing fundamentally sound football here this afternoon before more than 60,000 here at Memorial Stadium. And this is a ball club that by and large is playing without its frontline talent virtually everywhere on the defensive side of the ball. The give is to Tony Jeffrey. He's out near the 40-yard line. Again, Britt Hager, number 60, the middle linebacker, brings him down.
I'll tell you, he's got floating along that line. This is Jeffrey. You can see him. He's just one block from going the whole way, and there's Hager sliding along the line. See the parallel that he is to the line. He keeps his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. I'll tell you, he's been well coached. That's what they tell every football player that plays linebacker. Keep those shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. Don't turn and run.
Jeffrey trying to follow Rob Adams and Jeff Hopkins, and there's not much running room. Now, when you look at the guys who have run to stardom here in the Southwest Conference, look at Tony Jeffrey. He is moving up, and now he is within earshot of Craig James.
Yeah, Phil, he started 7th this game behind Walter Abercrombie, and he has moved up today behind Curtis Dickey, too, and that's quite a young man to pass. He's passed 2 people today.
That's Bobby Davis. Across the midfield stripe. He has the first down at the Longhorns 45-yard line. John Hagee, the free safety, with help from the strong side. Gerard Senegal knocks him down. A 13-yard gain for Davis. Clock stops while they move the yard marker, and now we'll start again, and we may have seen our last play of the 3rd period. The Horned Frog marching band has made the trip from Fort Worth for this ball game. And that's it. The clock has expired here in the 3rd period. We'll be right back with more action from Memorial Stadium after these messages from your local station. Now, the last time Texas Christian won the Southwest Conference Championship was way back, Dave, in 1959 under Abe Martin. Where were you in 59, my friend?
I think I was about 12.
Of course, the Horned Frogs had a guy by the name of Jack Spikes, Harry Moreland. Remember Marvin Lassiter? They lost to Clemson in the Blue Bonnet Bowl that year, but boy, what a season they had in 59. That is Tony Jeffrey with knocking off his feet. It's Rocky Allen.
And Phil, we talked about what TCU had to do in the game. You can see control the game on the ground. They haven't really done that. They've had a good day rushing, but they haven't controlled the game. Rush the passer, their passer. Texas passer has completed 6 out of 7. He's had a good day, and stop Eric Metcalf, and we've seen the results of they haven't done anything that they need to do to win.
2nd down and 5 from the 40-yard line. Vesco pitch to Jeffrey. He's got some room. He can't get past John Hagee, but he got enough for the first down. Out of bounds inside the 32, the ball nosing the 31-yard line.
Well, he just looks like he's just losing that burst. He needs a little bit more of a burst. He may be very tired from having played this game all game, but he just needs that little bit of a burst. He takes the pitch nice. Now he's going to the corner, but you can see he just needs that little burst to turn it back up, and he just doesn't get it. Hagee, I thought he was out of the game. You remember when they had to ice down his knee and his back, and he's right back in there. You can't keep out that young man.
Give is to Jared Delaney. He tries to get around the right side and maybe a yard. Lee Brockman. Well, the play of the linebacking core of the Texas Longhorns has been simply astounding today.
And this is a reverse. You're going to see the action goes strong side to the left, and all of a sudden he comes to right, and then all of a sudden he comes back to Jared Delaney. But when linebackers are playing their keys, and look at 63 in there, that's Lee Brockman. We talked about his 2 interceptions, but he is playing his keys as well as you can play them. When I say play keys, what you do is you have certain things that dictate what action is going to take place, and he is doing an exceptional job with that.
Vesco. He is inside the 20, inside the 15, and run out of bounds at the 12 by John Hagee. Or Rasco, a gain of 18 yards. That's not surprising. I remember earlier this year against Brigham Young, Rasco ran for, I believe it was 105 yards.
Yeah, he is the kind of runner that when he gets out, he's got good mobility coming off the line. They were so cognizant that Jeffrey was going to get a pitch that time that they took Jeffrey, and the man who was designated for the quarterback got blocked, and Rasco turned it up. A good read by David Rasco.
Rasco trying to pass. He's got Ricky Stone. Touchdown, Horned Frogs. The flag is down in the end zone. Hold everything. Ricky Stone doesn't even get the wake-up call to the fourth quarter. Last week in Lubbock, he scored 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns. Apparently, it was an inadvertent flag. An official picked it up. There was no flag on the play. The touchdown stands. Lee Newman. Ball is down, and Newman connects. Clock is stopped with 13:29 to play in this ball game, and now it's the Longhorns by 10.
And you can see the size of Ricky Stone, 6'4", 258 pounds, with those great hands. Once he gets hit there, he just rolls into the end zone. He was a big part in their comeback last week, had played a big part. There he is, number 80. Played a big part in their comeback last week. He may, in fact, Bill, do it again this week.
Coming into this ball game, Ricky Stone, the top tight end in the Southwest Conference, and right there, you see why. Metcalf and Darren Norris standing back at their own 5-yard line, awaiting the kick of Lee Newman. Now this is a similar situation Jim Wacker and his Horned Frogs were in a week ago in Lubbock.
They really were, and they came back. They scored 3 touchdowns in that fourth quarter. We talked earlier about how they don't get out of the blocks well. Well, that touchdown may spur them, in fact, on.
Darren Norris takes it, kneels down, and Shannon Kelly and the Longhorn offense will start from their own 20-yard line. We'd like to remind our viewers that at the end of today's game, Dave and I will be selecting the Coors player of the game, so we invite you to begin thinking who you would select.
Well, I got 2 great candidates, Jeffrey and Metcalf. I mean, that has really been the story. They really have run the ball exceptionally well today.
Sun beginning to come out now. First down, Longhorns out of the eye. Here's Metcalf. 25th time today he has carried the ball. Tommy Sharp and Philanda Newton, the safeties, combined to throw Metcalf to the artificial surface. An artificial surface, incidentally, that is a very hard one.
Yes, when we talked to Metcalf yesterday, I said, how do you like that artificial turf? Can you cut real fast on it? He says, I hate that stuff. And he has to play on it week after week because I think every team in the Southwest Conference has artificial turf. There's the story. Top guns. Jeffrey, 136 yards. Metcalf, 159.
And again, it is Metcalf, and he may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage at best.
And Phil, one thing that comes to mind right away is that Texas has turned the ball over a lot. They have turned the ball over a considerable number of times, and you see right there they have not come back in the fourth quarter to beat Southwest team since '84. But Texas they have continually caused the turnover, and if you're a coach standing on the sideline, you say, oh boy, not now. Don't turn the ball over now.
There's Metcalf. Grabbed by Mitchell Benson at the 26-yard line. It'll be 4th down, and the Longhorns are going to have to give it up to a potent Horned Frog offense. Jim Wacker now beginning to get those Nightcat batteries recharged. He knows that his ball club's got a great chance with 12 minutes to play.
He does, and we'll see when we get to the third quarter stats exactly what it shows. Maybe perhaps we can get to it after this kick. But
Bob Liljadal, high snap. He brings it down and gets the kick away. Philanda Newton, a fair catch at the 35. That snap was about 4 inches from sailing into the end zone. Liljadal pulled it down and kicked it away. 11:43 remaining in the ball game. The Horned Frogs with the ball. They're only 10 points down. The Texas Longhorns could stop Tony Jeffrey and company without Steve Llewellyn, without Lee Beckelman, and now they're without Ken Hackenmack. The question is, Dave, with 11:43 remaining in this ball game, can the Longhorns hold on defensively?
Well, they have to play strong defense. They have played that, and it's indicative by the fact that the middle linebacker has been in so many tackles. Middle linebacker has been able to slide along. Hager, we've called his name all day long, and they have kept those linemen off the linebackers. That was going to be the key to stopping TCU on that inside running game, and Texas has done it so far.
Rasco going long. And somebody misread the pattern. Was it Rasco or was it Reggie Davis?
Well, I think he had to throw the ball away on that play too, Phil, because the defensive safety, John Hagee, who has played so well today, played injured, got hurt, came back. You can't keep him out of the game. He reacted so well to the ball that he really had to throw a perfect pass to have it complete. He overthrew it.
That is Tony Jeffrey. Roger Fritcher with help from Bobby Duncombe on the stop. Jeffrey gains 6, and now on the day, Tony Jeffrey has gone for 145 yards. He now is only 15 yards shy of Craig James's all-time Southwestern Conference career rushing mark. James is in 4th place, and Jeffrey is closing in. Rasco to the Longhorns 47-yard line. A gain of 13, and Rasco is having a big day rushing the football. 8 carries for 31 yards.
And they've been 31 very important yards because Rasco, they've been keying so much on Jeffrey, so much on Darthard early in the game, that Rasco, if they're able to get their block on that linebacker and just nick him, Rasco is clear. He doesn't have to flip the ball, and that's what he's done successfully on the last 2 drives. He's made most of those 31 yards in the last 2 drives.
Short drop. Looking for somebody to clear. Throws, and it is incomplete. Now that's one of the negatives when you're throwing, Dave, to the short side of the field. As you know from your playing days, there's so many people in that very short area that you've really got to get somebody free and get the ball to them in a hurry.
Absolutely, and plus the sideline is a great defensive player because you have to turn it up. It's almost like having an extra man over there when you run short sides. You've always got that out of bounds that you have to be aware of, and they have not been successful running that way.
That's Jeffrey. What great pursuit by Gerard Senegal, the strong safety. You can't play that sweep any better than Senegal did.
No way. You can see the shoulder pad ripped off Jeffrey. That's what you want to do with great running backs, is you want to grab on something. Gerard Senegal is running. He's number 5. Look at that. He's got the pitch. You can see Jeffrey just say, I've got to cut back inside. You grab on. You hold on to that jersey. Some of the best tackles ever made were by a jersey, hanging on with a couple fingers.
3rd down and 12, maybe the play of the game for the Horned Frogs. Rasco at time, lets it fly. It is incomplete, intended for Jared Delaney, and Tony Griffin with outstanding coverage.
Well, you can watch on this play. It's going to be Tony Griffin, number 16, who plays the play. It's not a well-thrown ball. It's thrown in there. It's a catchable ball. It's a little bit behind him. But look at Griffin. Get the hand in there. Dive in there.
Beckner. It's a good one. And he puts it, I believe, into the end zone. Yes, he does. Aiming for the sideline. Boy, Becker has had a frustrating afternoon. The Longhorns will have the ball at their own 20-yard line. They lead TCU 24-14. 9:46 remaining in this contest. In action right now at College Station, his Aggies with 11:15 to play in the second period, out in front of the Razorbacks of Arkansas, 7-0. It came on a 66-yard punt return by A&M's Rod Harris. Here in Longhorn country, Texas over the Horned Frogs, 24-14, 9:46 to play from the I. Here comes Metcalf again through the left side. A gain of 4. Now, we talked about the injuries to Texas throughout this ball game, and earlier in the year they lost their center Carter Hall to a serious neck injury. He will never play football again. Likewise, Lee Beckelman, he announced yesterday he is retiring from football because of a neck injury sustained last week. Steve Llewellyn will undergo shoulder surgery Monday. Brett Stafford out this entire game with the exception of the first series with a bruised elbow. They lost their strong safety Wayman Wesley to a knee against Rice. The give is to Darren Norris. You know, this is a team, Dave, when you look down that list of injuries, I mean, every team sustained injuries, but the Longhorns have sustained certainly more than their share of the serious injuries.
Well, the good teams that are able to overcome that are the teams that get their secondary players, the players that are in backup positions, get them in game situations. They get them some playing time. They get them a lot of practice time, and they're the teams that are able to overcome. They're the ones with depth. Everybody, you always talk about depth, and depth is an important factor late in the game, late in the season like this time right here.
Here's Metcalf. And a good block. He's across the 35-yard line and out of bounds. What a block by Chris Samuels. And he's a freshman, a true freshman just out of high school.
Oh, but Metcalf sets the block up. Watch Metcalf. Now he's got to be tired. You'll see Samuels in there. He's going to be in there blocking. There he is coming into your screen. He tries to knock him outside. Now look at Metcalf. Set him up. See the defensive back swing inside? He doesn't know where he is. And Metcalf just keeps on rolling along. He's got that great cut ability. Set those blocks up. Cut back off them. You can see the results of his yardage today. 168 yards so far.
And he's got it again. He's across the 45 out to the 46 and knocked down there. That's the 30th time today that the junior out of Arlington, Virginia, has seen the football. Greg Moore and Kent Trammell on the stop. I'll tell you what, there are a bunch of Horned Frogs down there that are tired of seeing number 2 carry the football.
Oh, I watched Mitchell Benson that time. He just kind of waved at him. It's like trying to tackle air. He just all of a sudden he's there and then he's gone. And you get braced to make a tackle and all of a sudden he just disappears. He's got such a change of direction.
Full house backfield. Again, it is Metcalf. This time he gets maybe a yard. No, he is going to lose a yard. Well, Metcalf, 31 carries, 176 yards.
And Phil, you want to talk about the dominance of a running back. Metcalf has carried 31 times. Norris, who's the backup, has carried 7. Now that is Hackamack. That's Ken Hackamack. You can see the brace on his knee there. That's the brace that he had down. He injured his knee early. He was a defensive tackle. That was so important. I don't think they made it.
They did not. The freshman fullback, Chris Samuels, 5'11", 203 pounds. Dives in short of the first down, and they'll be kicking it away, I believe.
And watch Llewellyn in this play. He's going to dive in. He times it, just kind of dives in. There's Terrell diving in there. Everybody knew it was coming right up the gut. They guessed right. If they had gone wide, they'd probably still be running.
Bobby Liljadal will kick it away. Alex Waits out with a hamstring. He punted earlier in this ball game. Left in the 3rd period. Liljadal. Oh, what a punt. Philando Newton. A fair catch at the 9-yard line. For Liljadal, a 45-yard effort. It comes with 6:27 remaining in the game. And the Longhorns out in front of the Horned Frogs of Texas Christian by 10. Remaining in this ball game. Texas out in front of Texas Christian 24-14.
And Bill, the only success that TCU has had on the ground is going wide. They've got to go wide or at least come up with a pass play.
Vasco, the pitch to Tony Jeffrey. It's on the ground. Jeffrey trying to get out of trouble and will. Oh my, at the 1-yard line, the Longhorns, tremendous defensive pursuit.
Well, Jeffrey does a wise thing here. He takes his time. He's patient to try and come up with the flip. The flip was way out in front of him. Now, most backs would panic and just fall on it. He doesn't. He gets it up. He sees the flag, the marker on the goal line. He knows he can get out to it. That's a heads-up play by that young man.
Now it was Thomas Aldridge who hit David Rasco just at the point where Rasco released the football. Now it's 2nd and a whole bunch from the 1-yard line. Look at the balance by Tony Jeffrey. He's across the 12 out near the 13. John Heggie jumps on him, but not before Jeffrey rambles for 12.
Boy, and if he's able to break this, you can see the offensive blocking. They're going to block down on number 88. That's Gary Givens. They're going to kick him inside. They control this time. They control Brockman. Now watch Jeffrey when he comes in. He just clips his foot a little bit there. If he can get his balance, we may have seen a 95-yard, 97-yard run. Rasco putting it up for grabs, looking for Delaney, and
and it's out of bounds. No catch.
And Phil Delaney must have been out of bounds for 30 yards. I couldn't believe it. Look, he's out of bounds right there, running the pattern. Oh, gee. He was out of bounds for probably 25 yards. It's the inside white line, Jared.
Eric Metcalf standing at his own 45-yard line. He has had a stellar afternoon. Becker kicks it away. Metcalf's heading back to try and get it. What a bounce it takes. Metcalf will get the bounce, fields it inbounds, comes up across the 25, the 30. Greg Moore with perhaps a touchdown saving arm tackle. A 73-yard punt. And that'll stop the clock with 5:26 to play in the ball game. Texas has the football, and they own a 10-point lead. We'll return to Austin with more Southwest Conference action in a moment. At any level, oftentimes defies description. Coming into this ball game, TCU averaging almost 29 points a game in offense. Texas had been giving up almost 32 points a game. There's the draw. Metcalf's got it. He's to the 40-yard line and bent over there. Mitchell Benson and Kent Tremmel on the stop. Want to remind you again, Dave and I will be selecting our Coors player of the game, so stay with us. The clock is running with 5:09 to play in the ball game.
And if you're a TCU fan, you've got to hope for a fumble, an interception, something along that line. But in the Texas huddle right now, the number one thing they're saying is don't give them up. Don't give up the ball. Don't fumble it. Make sure you carry it with two hands. Don't let it get stripped out of your body. And they should keep it on the ground.
Metcalf's got it. He goes across the 45-yard line, and a flag comes sailing in from about 15 yards downfield. Talking about Metcalf, Dave, he has had a rap of putting that ball on the carpet. And I was talking to David McWilliams about that, and he says one of the reasons, Phil, is his style of running. He flails those arms, and while you say that's a negative, that is also what allows Eric Metcalf to make those tremendous cuts that he is able to make.
Absolutely balanced. The balance of a running back is a lot in his arms, and he has to carry the ball one-handed. You can't fake anybody out carrying the ball with two hands wrapped around the football. You've got to be able to do that balance thing where you put your arms out. So consequently, you carry the ball very loosely in your hand. If it just gets touched, it's going to fall out. He's not a big person, so consequently he doesn't have big hands to carry the ball. And this is going to hurt Texas's drive because it's going to take them back, bring up a second down. Excuse me, I believe it'll be a second down and about 11. So that really hurts the control game. Right now, Texas wants to run the clock, run that time. See the time ticking down in the middle. That's the important thing right now for Texas.
Now the Horned Frogs have not been able to get to Shannon Kelly today. In their last two ball games now, TCU with 1 sack. Not enough.
And Phil, our storyline has gone kind of back and forth today, but it's what we thought it would be. You see the 3 turnovers, but look at the rushing yards by Jeffrey, but it has not been enough. We talked about one of the big things, stop Metcalf. The 260 yards is total yards. That's punt returns, kickoff returns. I mean, when he ran to the water bucket, he picked up yards. It's unbelievable the day he's had.
Well, TCU has called a timeout. When we return, Texas will have the ball, 3rd and 10.
Here's to the winners.
4:17 remaining in the ball game. The Longhorns have the football, 3rd and 10. That's Metcalf. He's back to about the 38-yard line. Metcalf, his 34th run from scrimmage. The Longhorn record belongs to Chris Gilbert, and it came versus the Razorbacks of Arkansas back in 1967 when Gilbert carried the ball 38 times.
Well, if they get another series, the next running back that has run the ball is Norris, and he has carried it just 7 times.
Now, this has been a good one today. Next week, we will be in Fort Worth to watch Jackie Sherrill's Aggies of Texas A&M take on Jim Wacker's Horned Frogs.
is open before and following each home game. All Texas exits after.
Now Texas Christian came into this ball game. I mean, they knew it. It was right in front of them, Dave. It was simply a must-win situation if Jim Wacker's group was to stay on the Cotton Bowl chase.
Well, sometimes injuries play, you know, we always say they play an important part. But psychologically, I think TCU may have had a little letdown thinking, hey, these guys are all hurt. And they came into the game, and maybe they just didn't expect the caliber of play that they got out of Texas. But TCU is a fine football team. They've got great talent. Their future lies ahead of them. In fact, they're coming after this punt.
Bobby Liljadal. Good snap. Here they come. Almost blocked. Philando Newton's got it at the 30. Spins his way to the 39. A 9-yard return. Kyle Elliott brought him down. Still time to score. 4 minutes even remaining. A 32-yard punt for Liljadal.
Well, they need to score on this drive, Phil. They've got 4 minutes left. They've got to score on this drive. They did use one of their timeouts early, and that was a costly thing. Now they have, I don't believe they have any timeouts left, so that could play an important factor. But they have got to score, and they've got to score quickly.
Rasco. Oh, did he get out of trouble nicely? David is pushed out of bounds at the 48-yard line. Britt Hager with help from Roger Fritcher.
Well, Phil, they've got to go deep on a play here soon. They've got to pick up one of their deep backs. I mean, one of the deep wide receivers, either Gerard Delaney or Reggie Davis coming down the sideline, but they've got to go deep here soon.
Delaney and Davis going long. Rasco is going to take it upfield himself and go down at the 46-yard line. A gain of 4. Gerard Senegal and Thomas Aldridge, the senior right end out of South Oak Cliff High in Dallas, combined on the tackle.
And if you're a defensive player, you say, hey, let the quarterback run. It's not going to hurt us. He can pick up his 6 or 7 yards. The clock starts ticking back down.
Pass intended for Ricky Stone. John Hagee was right behind the big tight end. Hagee unquestionably relieved that Ricky Stone did not catch that ball. Hagee 6'1", 187. Ricky Stone 6'4", 258.
With the hands of not Stone. He has had excellent hands. Ricky Stone has made some big catches. He brought them back last week. But David Rasco's got to pick up one of his wide receivers, probably on a crossing pattern, something to get him deep into the center of the field. One-on-one situation.
Deep drop. Rasco wants to go long. Throws, and that'll be pass interference, I believe. Or will it? Yes, it will. A late flag on Stanley Richard. Pass intended for Jared Delaney.
Now Stanley Richard gets to the play too early. You'll watch him, number 18, come over top of the back. Now there's the contact. You can see the play. It was obviously interference. It was against Jared Delaney. And that's going to move the ball up inside the 40-yard line.
An awfully late flag, though, David.
Well, it was. I think that one of the referees thought the other one was going to call it. It was seen. I think it was pretty obvious. One referee, I think several referees saw it, but they wait for the one that's supposed to make that call to call it.
That's Jeffrey on his feet. He can break it. A flag is down back at the 24-yard line. Jeffrey is out of bounds at the 3. But I believe it's going to be called back against TCU.
It may be against Wayne Waddy. He was the one who was complaining so vehemently to the referee, and it is going to be called back. Wow, what a play that was. Wayne Waddy's a wide receiver. I think they called him for holding on the play. Watch on the left side of your screen here. You may see it right in there. That's what they called.
Oh.
Wow. See the flag coming out of the referee's pocket? That is a big play against TCU.
3:17 remaining in the ball game. It is first down and 7 at the 36-yard line. Rasko. Ricky Stone's got the football. He is inside the 12-yard line. Correction, it's Reggie Davis. Gerard Senegal brings him down at the 6.
And Phil, you're going to see what a big target Reggie Davis is at 6'4", 218 pounds. He goes up for the ball, brings the ball back down quickly, and watch him get in gear. Good catch across the middle. He's got that big high leg drive action. He rambles down to the 5-yard line, and TCU is going to score. And
David Rasko, his 5th rushing touchdown of the year.
And Phil, what a play for Rasko. It's called a goose play. He comes up, he looks at the middle linebacker, watches the 2 tackles. If they're out wide, playing the wide play, all he does is just goose the center and say, and it's an automatic call. He knows what it means. You get the middle linebacker, I'll roll right in. There's no other way to describe it except a goose play. And that's the goose that, would you say, laid the golden egg on that play?
Lee Newman puts it through. The clock is stopped. 2:59 remaining on the scoreboard. And Texas Christian is only down now by a field goal.
And watch this play. See the center get the middle linebacker. They don't even block the 2 tackles. They just fan the 2 guards out. He rolls right into the end zone for 7 points. A big key, though, on this next drive is that TCU, as I look at the clock, has no timeouts. They have no timeouts. Texas is sitting there with 3. So, in fact, TCU cannot stop the clock. They almost have to kick an onside kick in order to get the ball back.
Well, they have been unable to slow down, let alone stop Eric Metcalf. And in that regard, Dave, I think you're right. You almost have to gamble that you're going to recover that onside kick. You put the ball in Eric Metcalf's hands, and it is see you later. What a game Eric has had.
He really has had a fantastic day. He's carried it 34 times now, and I think that's about 185 yards, if I'm not mistaken. 185 yards rushing.
His best day ever as a Longhorn.
Well, I want to tell you one thing he's not done well. He only has 1 pass catch for 8 yards, so that's something bad.
Yeah, but he's only 5 away from tying Texas's all-time reception mark, held by a fellow by the name of Johnny Lamb Jones. Lamb caught 85 when he was here as a Longhorn, and now Eric Metcalf has a total of 80, and he still has a year to play here.
Well, that's what you want to do. You want to get the ball in the hands of the great backs. There's David Rasko. I think what they're going to try to do, I don't think they're going to kick an onside kick. I think what they're going to try is do what they call a pooch kick, where you kick it over the top line. That's what I would do in this situation. Texas has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 men up. So if they can kick it over top of that, over top, probably about 15 to 18 yards deep, and run down and cover it very quickly, they may get a better play than an onside kick.
Now you saw how fast the Horned Frogs can put points on the board. 1 minute, they went 61 yards. Rasko, a 6-yard touchdown run. Now, thus far on the day, TCU 262 yards rushing. The Longhorns 185 yards rushing. Now there's the onside kick. It is caught. Bobby Liljadal, the number 2 punter, picked it up, and he was stuck.
I can't believe he kicked this ball like this. I thought he'd kick it straight over top. The ball is a good kick, but the ball has to bounce the second time. But watch Liljadal after he gets it. Bam! He's leveled. But you see both arms wrapped around that ball. You can see him. He's right there. Number 14. He plays it all the way. David Spradlin, 55, is going to come in and level him. I mean, it's amazing he didn't separate himself from the ball on that play.
On the 44-yard line, 2:59 to play on the ball game. It's the Longhorns by 3. The pitch is to Metcalf. And he is spun down at the 43. A gain of 1. Texas Christian cannot stop the clock. The Longhorns have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. There you see the time left in the ball game.
Now that quarterback watches that 24-second clock, 25-second clock in the end zone. He'll come up, he'll look at that, he'll concentrate on it, let it get down to about 4, 3, 2, and snap the ball. That's what you practice in these situations. It's a 2-minute drill where you want to control the clock.
Shannon Kelly, the pitch to Metcalf. He turns the corner. He's at the 30-yard line. A first down for the Longhorns. And that will just about do it. The Horned Frogs unable to stop the clock. A gain of 17 more for the little guy out of Arlington, Virginia. And I'll tell you, he had some kind of dad to learn from.
He certainly did. You can see the Texas A&M score. Still in the second quarter, 20 seconds left. A&M is leading Arkansas. But it will have no bearing on this football game if TCU doesn't win. For TCU, it's lights out. And there's the clock. Under 2 minutes now, and it just continues to click. Metcalf now 35 carries. Make it 36 carries, 206 yards. That's Gerard Norris on his feet inside the Horned Frog 14. And TCU is ripping the ball out now. I think they just want to be a little honest with it. They've given the ball so many times to Metcalf today. That's amazing for a back his size. It's amazing for any back to carry the ball 36 times. That is just an unbelievable day. And every time he carries it, he just bounces up. Time left in the game, 1 minute and 15 seconds. The Longhorns of Texas out in front of the Horned Frogs 24-21. From the eye. And that is a good call. Shannon Kelly with the keeper. You don't want to gamble pitching that ball to Metcalf at this point, Dave. He has carried the ball 36 times. Why risk throwing it out to a back that has to be dog-tired? Oh, he's got to be tired. I look at him on the field. He's got his hands on his hips. He's walking around. His socks are down by his ankles. He has had quite a day, that young man. Mr. Metcalf has really had a day. And you can see, look at Jim Wacker. He knows the importance of this game. He realizes right now that A&M is beating Arkansas. All his team had to do was come in here today and score. They had to come in and dominate the game. They have not done what they needed to do to win. That is Shannon Kelly. Well, do you think it's too early to call the player of the game? I'll tell you what, you and I are going to agree, and all of you watching at home, whether you're a Horned Frog or a Longhorn, have to agree. It's got to be Eric Metcalf, and we're pleased to announce that our Coors player of the game is the junior running back out of Arlington, Virginia, Eric Metcalf from Texas. 36 carries, 206 yards. That's the ball game. The Horned Frogs lose a tough one here.